The college football experience week 8, 2023 preview and draft episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience week 8 preview and draft episode. Oh, yes, we've been previewing every single week of the college football season. Starting back, we got week 0, week 1, all the way to week 8. In case you are just wondering, and maybe you're just now saying I'm turning the wave to college football. As you know, in just 2 weeks, I will start breaking down all 133 teams in all of college football with a solo podcast for each and every team in all the land, and some other news, some other announcements we'll have going as well. But maybe you're just listening for the first time. You say, "Well, who the fuck am I listening to? Who is this bozo?" Well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. The fuck, I can't see pollen. Let's get the fuck out this country, mother.
Oh, buddy. Yes, I am back in the United States of America. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience.
Any bugs flying into your mouth down in Colombia?
Dude, the bug game in fucking the Amazon.
How big are those mosquitoes?
Holy shit, dude. Shout out to our buddy Kyle, he was asking how my trip was, and he happened to be texting me that as I was applying a bunch of shit to the 300 mosquito bites. I definitely have probably everything that Courtney Love has now. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh!
Oh, yes. Feels good to be back. It's college football season, folks. Yeah. Now it's official. I've done my vacation. All right.
The deep dive is upon us.
I'm speaking the English now. You know what I mean? Let's go, baby. We're also joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself, which you can still play DFS college football with us all year long, but also USFL DFS action. Yeah. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, guys?
I feel like I got a song for you here, right? Let's go. I try to find this every time and I fail, but let's. Where's my Bosworth song?
He's rusty. Just got back into the northern hemisphere.
Right.
Everything's backwards.
The toilet
backwards spinning toilets. Yeah. Did that fuck with you a little bit?
The what?
The backwards spinning toilet water.
A little bit, but it was more so the fact that their toilets don't have like a fucking door on them. You know what I mean?
Minor detail.
Dude, by the way, they don't give a fuck. Like some of those places. I paid to go. First off, I was taking a bus, no bathrooms at the bus station. So then I go to a restaurant, right? and I pay to use their bathroom, right? Oof. I give them American currency to use their bathroom. Yeah. No shitter. So, and I was trying to take shit. So that was not, so then I'm like, what am I going to ask for the money back? You know what I mean? Even though I went in the bathroom. So I was like,
did you just take a dump in the urinal?
No, I just, I held it like a true American.
Dude, you didn't say numero uno or numero dos.
God, we sound like such idiots here.
Anyway, my point is that it was, they just, if they have a door for a men's bathroom, this is not just like, this one had a door you had to open and everything. And then just one urinal. It's like, wait. Hey, what are you doing here? All right? What are you doing here?
You can take a dump in that urinal. You have to. Okay.
I did think about this, but I was like, I could wait. I'm a classy guy.
This is the college experience.
Right? This is the college football experience, baby. And well, let's hop into this action. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the news. Well, the light week on news. I found some of this news hilarious though. Because
now, Colby, I do have something I want to touch on. A review I wanted to read. I forgot last week. Would now be a good time to do that?
Sure, fire away.
So first off, it's a 5-star review from Flaccid Pirate, and titled "Love the Podcast." So, just real quickly, he says, "You know what? NC State leads the all-time series against ECU 19 games to 13. NC State has also won the last 3 games in the series by a combined score of 113 to 29. And the most recent matchup, hold your tongue, featured ECU kicker Owen Daphner absolutely shank a 41-yard field goal in a 21-20 victory.
The extra points. She shanked multiple extra points.
That too.
Yeah.
But hey, first off, 5-star review. This is a guy who puts up with all your anti-NC State bullshit and still goes out and gives us a 5-star review. He's a real man to be able to put up with that, and we appreciate the review. And I agree with everything he said.
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
Look, here's the real deal. All right. The real deal was that Scotty Montgomery was a mole. All right. Put in by the other Carolina schools because ECU was beating the shit out of him. Look, I got and come back at you. ECU had won 3 straight prior to Scotty Montgomery. All right. So I feel like we're just gonna fuck you up the next time because our program's back on track. Your program.
I'll say that was a friggin' awesome game last year.
Dude, ECU.
I know you guys were both passionate, and
it
probably hurt you. And I'm sure Nick loved it. Probably sweated bullets throughout it. But as a kind of neutral fan, just pure entertainment. Great football.
And look, Mike Houston did come up on the short side of that, but the other 2 Scotty Montgomery years, by the way, 58-3 and 36 or 34-6. That's the mole. All right.
That skews that record that over the last 3 games and that point differential is true. That definitely skews it pretty badly.
You see it with governments all the time. You let one mole in and the government starts going downhill. All right. All right. Well, look, I wanted to touch base. And by the way, shout out to whatever's been happening at this SGPN studio because I open up the fridge and I see a Heineken. And I open up the Heineken and I go, oh, great. We got a Heineken. I'm sitting down here with Patty C. And I go, this Heineken, I haven't had a Heineken. I go, they got a new look. And then I go, I'm reading it and I go, alcohol free. What the fuck is happening here?
The old 0.0, huh?
Yeah, they got me. Whoa. All right.
Colby is actually
Dundee.
Rum Dundee got drunk under the table, and now he's got to take a few days off. Admit it.
No.
Couldn't handle that Colombian smoke.
I was with my wife's parents some of that time. I couldn't do Jaeger bombs. You know what I mean? Although I did introduce them into how to properly make a margarita.
You introduced them to how to properly make margarita?
Dude, I made about 40 margaritas for a whole party. I was bartending my ass off over there. No tips, nothing. Just for the love of the margaritas.
Hey,
you know what I mean? Let's go.
How about nose beers? I feel like they have some of the finest
nose beers are thriving.
Finest brews on the market down there.
Do a few nose beers, shoot an AK-47 up into the air. Not
the worst time in the world.
Not the worst time in the world. No. All right. I want to get to some of this news. Kevin Warren. not a big fan of Kevin Warren. You know, I know he had complaints with college athletics, like on day one of him entering, being the commissioner of the Big Ten.
What were the complaints day one again?
Well, he just talked about the model sucks, which in a way, I mean, I guess I can agree with certain things, but he's a pro guy, and that's what you saw them when them got USC. He came from where?
Chicago, the Bears.
No, he came from the Vikings. Now he's with the Bears.
Okay, yeah.
But, you know, he did this deal, and first off, he canceled the season during COVID.
Yeah,
remember, and all the presidents were like, Gene Smith, Ohio State's what? You didn't talk to us.
Yeah,
what's going on here? So he did all this shit like that, you know, and then you know, normally you have your commissioner stay for like over a decade. I feel like traditionally he was just like, no, I'm out of here. Got the TV deal done. Well, that TV deal was a little bit phony. I don't know if you guys caught this. I find this hilarious on all accounts here. So he sold the Big Ten championship game to NBC, with NBC unaware that Fox owned it. So, not accurate on the amount of money that they'll be making. Actually, it's going to be $6 million less per school, so it'll be about $59 million, I believe, as opposed to $65 million.
How's that possible that he sold it to somebody else when someone else owned it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they just didn't do their due diligence or what, but I can tell you it did happen. And here's another thing. Now that NBC is kind of calling the shots because they have the Big Ten deal, Michigan and Ohio State complaining that they have night games in November, and they had that in their previous contract that they did not play night games in November. What little bitches?
Is it too cold?
Yeah.
What the hell? Come on.
It drops 7 degrees when the sun goes down. What? I mean, I find out this, and then I go back to all of my scheduling arguments over the past 5 years of this show. And I say, you know what? This is what I mean by them. They show favoritism to their biggest brands, and it's a crock of shit. Because I could have swear I've seen a lot of Minnesota and Indiana night games in November.
Night games are an advantage. Penn State wants a night game. Your crowd is rowdier for a night game. They've been tailgating all day. Do you want a noon tip? Come on, that makes no sense.
But now it's great that they're complaining, and you know, NBC, I feel like is like, well, we just invested a shit ton of money. We want to get night games. Now, I find that good for the sport personally. I think it should be fair to all 14 or 35 teams in the Big Ten, whatever the fuck the number is, right? Should be fair. We're looking for it to be as fair as possible. But what I don't like is what happened to our Penn State at Michigan State game, which you end the season with. Now it's supposed to be their rivalry, the land grant trophy. Penn State at Michigan State is moved to Black Friday. And I thought, oh, right on. And it's being played at Ford Field.
Yeah.
Disgusting. I mean, but this is the problem when you, this is the problem when you sell out, guys. When you sell out and let TV execs in charge, they don't know the history of the fucking sport. And you're going to have your senior day now at the fucking Lion Stadium the day after Thanksgiving. This is terrible. Yeah. And it made me actually go back.
Neutral site game on the last game of the season.
Neutral site conference game too. What the fuck are we doing here?
They might not have senior day on that night. That the senior day still might be the last home game.
Well, yeah. Well, clearly it's not going to be now. But yeah, I mean, I just find this so sad to me. Like and I know Michigan State fans are furious about this because Penn State fans are going to travel really well. So it's going to be like 60-40, probably Michigan State to Penn State. And yeah, you lost a home game, but
is this every year though, or is it just this year?
No, just this year. But we could see a lot more of this because I believe it was the NBC pushing.
It's going to be in like Philly or something. It's going to be the Eagle Stadium.
I don't know. I'm just saying that the NBC seemed to be the driving force behind this. But what's hilarious about this, to me, is I went back and listened to our episode from 2 years ago, where Penn State played at Michigan State in the snow, and NC Nick was saying, it's great. I went right to it. And I said, how about this game? And you said, isn't this the greatest thing that what makes college football so great? To quote you, NC Nick, you said that. And you said, all these other NFL games going on this weekend, but that Penn State, Michigan State game in the snow, back and forth game, it was incredible. And now to see what they're doing to this game, it's just fucking brutal, man. This is why I'm like, I need to start just only watching the FCS. That's the way I feel. I'm like, because the long time college football, even Michigan State fans on social media, I felt like the majority of comments were Michigan State fans being, what the fuck?
Well, I feel like Penn State should have the same reaction It's I'm sure Penn State wants to play in
if you're Penn State,
a
I think
great
you're happy
college-
with
No,
that.
I'm
it
sure-
makes it easier
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
I'm sure it makes it a little easier for them. So I guess from a winning and losing standpoint, that makes Penn State fans happy. But in terms of playing a rivalry game that is relevant and people watch and say this is a great game, no, that Penn State and Michigan State always struggled to be rivals. I mean, it's been a competitive series, but there is a state in between the two of them. So geographically speaking, it doesn't really make sense as a rivalry. They're kind of just the leftovers that Ohio State and Michigan didn't want.
It's not like that stadium's any bigger than Michigan State Stadium.
No,
So-
Michigan State's bigger.
Yeah,
By 10,000 people. Yeah.
So what's the
Absolutely fucking hilarious. But and I got a shout out to Ben Commandments on Twitter, who DM'd me. He said, Michigan State fan here. I just want to know, what the fuck are they doing moving the last game to Ford Field? I am out of state for work, and now the one game I'm going back for in Michigan, I don't even get to go back on campus. This is a bummer for the students and the alumni. And he also said he's big pick Dundee fan. So shout out to you, brother. All right. But
how about shout out to Benny Furman in the chat, who doesn't ring a bell, maybe his first time. Another guy from Iowa. It feels like we have a lot of fans in Iowa.
Oh, like I'm wearing perfect for my Hayden Fry t-shirt.
He pointed that out.
And Iowa, just keep Kirk Ferentz. All right, don't jump the gun here. Kirk Ferentz is a fucking great coach. All right,
He'll have him winning the Rose Bowl again in a year or two, and everything will be rosy again. No pun intended.
Everyone that is upset that they have Kirk Ferentz is a fucking idiot. All right, they're a fucking idiot. But yeah, hopefully you're not one of them. All right. But Penn State, Michigan State moved to Black Friday Ford Field. I almost want to boycott watching this game.
Awful.
Yeah, I don't boycott.
Yeah, I think I'm doing it. Well,
the good thing about Black Friday is that there's a ton of games, so you don't necessarily have to watch that one.
I'm not gonna boycott a neutral site football game. I'm still gonna watch it, but
Michigan State
going to be worse.
Michigan State might be, battling for that bowl berth, that 6th win that game. It could be a big game for them.
True. Probably not now that they're not at home. Yeah, it could. That would probably. I mean, honestly, that probably is going to hurt their chances. Blanton says got tickets to North Carolina Clemson in November. Could be a huge game to decide the ACC championship. There we go. There we go. Support your local college football rivalry, folks. We've been saying it for years. All right. I don't care if Weehawk's in the chat. He's a Western Carolina fan. Does not matter what D2, D3, NAIA, FCS. Go out, support your local college football rivalry.
We got Joe Hackney in the chat. He's a big fan of Northeast football. Him and Patty C eye to eye.
I think we might
see eye to eye.
Ooh! I think we might be playing some Northeast football on this slate. So I have the top pick in the Week 8 draft.
Dude, by the way,
yeah,
is this the best week of the college football season?
Oh, it's loaded.
Could be. If you put Pick Dundee as commissioner, how I gave away I did a rivalry week episode, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of schools have 2 or 3 rivalries.
Yeah.
I propose, if I am put in charge, that the second rivalry week be Halloween. All right.
Makes sense.
And if there's a third rivalry, it should be the final week of September.
I like that.
So you keep every month you have this motivation
End
of
the
saying,
month
yes,
on a high note.
ECU, NC State, end of November or end of September every year. Let's go.
I like it. This also signifies the second half of the college football season begins in Week 8.
There we go. Let's get into it. We got a lot of. What did you think of the whole week? Before I guess I take my first pick here. NC Nick, Patty C. What do you guys make of Week 8? I know you said it was the best, Patty C.
Fucking loaded, man. There's great games. There's 8 weekday games.
9 if you include little FCS North Carolina Central at Morgan State.
There we go.
On Thursday night.
There we go.
There's serious revenge factors in play here.
Yeah, this has everything you want. It has rivalry games, top-notch teams, weekday games, you name it. This week has got it. Let's do it.
I do wish there was another Friday game.
Yeah, they were
okay. If you want to poke a hole, good point.
Put Pick Dundee in charge. We get a couple Friday games.
Yeah.
Let's go 3. All right, but look, I'm on the clock. Let's get it going. Well, I know Cam. Shout out to Cam Kerr. Great guy. helps out with the golf gambling podcast, the sports gambling podcast, and the college football experience and college basketball experience, and I think college baseball experience. He did this Utah graphic. I said week 8 preview. I can't go there though, because I'm going to Columbus, where they won't play this one at night because apparently they're pussies. But Penn State, Ohio State, I find this rivalry actually, like, I know it's not like quote unquote like one of the top rivalries in college football.
Yeah.
But I kind of love this game every year. Yeah. I feel like this game is better than expectations or something, or better than what people think. So give me Penn State at Ohio State. And I think this year, Ohio State's got a lot of question marks. Penn State, a lot of hype. I feel like Penn State has let them off the hook a couple times. I remember one, what was that? We watched this one at a bar in downtown LA a couple years ago where they had like a 14-point lead when they had Saquon.
Yeah.
In Columbus. They should have won.
They
this
returned
game.
the opening kickoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the other one, when they had a pretty decent lead late and blew that one.
Oh, yeah, they're notorious. And then even the one they won was one they should have lost when they blocked the kick.
Exactly.
Yeah. But Penn State at Ohio State. NC Nick, you grew up a Nittany Lion fan. Yeah, you went to those second mile football camps. No, I'm joking.
Had a blast. Learned a lot. It's a great game, man.
How was Sandusky's basement?
Well,
it was nice, right?
Sandusky was a very hands-on coach.
Man. Yeah. So Penn State at Ohio State, though, it is a great game. And
it is a great game. Now, Franklin is only 1-8 against the Buckeyes. And there was that stretch 2016, 17, 18. Penn State 1-16 and then lost by 1 point in both 17 and 18. Since then, it hasn't quite been as close, but usually the game is always competitive. I prefer it in Happy Valley, though, instead of in Columbus. Still a great game, but I don't know if it would have been my number one.
Woo!
Definitely top 5.
Talking
definitely
some trash.
Definitely top
trash.
3. Top 3, okay?
Well, let me tell you what. Last year's game, was deceptive
misleading
as
score.
far as the final
Very
score.
misleading score.
What was it? Penn State had the lead after what? After 3 quarters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like one Ohio State defender? What's the guy's name? He's out of Southern California or Hawaii, I believe.
JT Taumalua or something.
Had the greatest game ever. Was like Derek Thomas with his 7 sacks as safety.
Yeah. Pick or fumble 6 or whatever you would call that.
Yeah,
Strip sack
he
6.
just killed it. Patty C, this is the top game of the week for you, or what?
Let me I knew this one was going to be played, so I didn't even pay attention to it. I think it probably would be. Obviously there's several others that would be in competition for it, but this is my favorite. I love this rivalry, and like I've said before, like the big time rivalries. Is Ohio State Michigan better than this rivalry? Yes, easily. That's so much fun to watch every year, but this one, just because it isn't given the love, the level of unspoken hatred.
You know what sucks though, when we don't get when they get rid of divisions, I assume it's going to be next year. We're not going to have this game every year. Like Ohio State, Michigan, they're going to make that happen every year.
Yeah.
Well, I think this might be one of the protected rivalries. There's no way Ohio State.
They're gonna just keep both those for Ohio State.
Yeah, and then I saw USC as another one. As proposed.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they dropped that.
I think Colby's right.
Yeah,
that would be really.
I mean, look, they're already bitching about night games. You think they're gonna just deal them the top 2 teams? They're arguably top 2 of the top 3 besides them.
Yeah, that's true. I think I don't know. The Big 33 football game had been between Ohio and Pennsylvania at the high school level for a long time. So to me, these states are more similar than Ohio State or Ohio and Michigan. Pennsylvania and Ohio seem like they should be natural rivals.
Got all those legends too. Like Ohio produces a ton of football legends.
Two great football states. Two great
that's what I'm saying.
states.
Pennsylvania, Joe Namath, fucking Joe Montana. You can go on and on and on about all the great players that come out of those states. Where Michigan has what? They got like.
I'm sure they have their share.
Yeah, they got Andre Rison. Get out of here! All right, come on. All right, NC Nick, you are on the clock. All right.
Well, it's tough because there are some great ones, but I'm no Johnny come lately over here. Okay, so I'm going to take a game that started in 1901, and I see our guy GBO Farms is in the chat. The most iconic moment of college football last year was probably carrying the goalpost into the fucking river. And that's the game that's the revenge in Tuscaloosa now. Tennessee at Alabama. Yeah, the Tide won 15 in a row, but that got snapped last year. And I think this makes for a very fun matchup this year.
I mean, obviously, I think that was the game of the season last year. That game, from the reaction, I mean, the SEC is trying to change the fucking rules after they took the goalpost to the river. You know, we even did a T-shirt. You can still get it. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Here's my only concern. I mentioned this before, and I know GBO Farms in the chat. Love GBO Farms, great guy. But I did pull up. I went through all 133 schools, in one score games and what their record are. You know, I know Phil Steele does this shit too, where he looks at it and looks at the luck meter. Tennessee, I think, went undefeated in one score games. Can that continue? And also, they haven't won a Tuscaloosa since Patty C was at JMU. I feel like. When was the last time? When was the last? 2003. This is the last time they won in Tuscaloosa, and even that was 5 overtimes. So they haven't beaten Saban once, and they play every year. It's not like one of those A&M.
Yeah, but Tennessee went through their stretch of bad coaches. It seems like they finally landed a pretty good one. So maybe that'll change.
He's a Mike Leach guy.
Well,
we're a Mike Leach program here.
Who's the UCF head coach now that just left?
Gus Malzahn?
No, or USF rather.
Oh, Alex Galesh.
Yeah. That's it. With him gone, you know, who knows? I mean, he'd been running the show for several years now.
Yeah, but Heupel, I think, knows. He knows.
Heupel knows it. Yeah. I mean, before him, Oklahoma's offense coordinator, or I guess it had been
Jeff Lebby.
Lebby was there running the show when they had the number one offense in the country under him. So I do think that they'll probably be fine. But still, a new coordinator is a new coordinator.
Are you at all worried that these games have been some blowouts in Tuscaloosa? 52-24, 35-13, 45-7. There was a 19-14 game in 2015, but other than that.
You're the one that's been telling me that Alabama's not the same as a couple years ago, and they have a new quarterback also.
True, I think but I worry about the road. I worry about the road more than I do Tuscaloosa. But yeah, all right, fair enough there. Patty C, what do you make of Bama, Tennessee?
Well, of course, after last year, it has to be on the list, very high on the list. If Tennessee, I mean, them beating Alabama seemed even more unlikely than Michigan, beating Ohio State a couple years ago. But obviously now with 2 years in a row of Michigan beating Ohio State, they seem like they're in control and maybe even will be favored this year at home. So if Tennessee gets Alabama on the road, like Michigan did Ohio State last year, then going back to Tennessee next year, whoa, Nelly, is there a new team in control of the SEC? Well, I guess the East. No, Alabama's in the West, so not quite a divisional matchup, but it still has pretty big implications, and Georgia's still in the way. But either way, Tennessee will have officially arrived if they pull this off again.
And remember, this year Tennessee gets Georgia in Knoxville. You win this, watch out.
Is this game still the biggest game on Tennessee's schedule, and is it the biggest on Alabama's schedule?
No, I see, because no, I think Tennessee's biggest game is Georgia, because I think they can beat all the other teams in the SEC East, and if you lose this but beat Georgia, you're in the SEC championship.
As far as rivalries go, though, I do think it's still significantly bigger than Georgia. There just haven't been many moments with Georgia.
You talk about the crazy Hail Mary game.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Double Hail Mary game.
Yeah, that was wild. It was fucking one of the wilder games I've ever seen. All right, Patty C, you're on the clock.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I might deserve the blowback that I'm going to get here, but this game, while it doesn't have the traditional sexiness of a lot of the other games that are still left on the slate, TCU and Kansas State were both in the Big 12 championship game last year. TCU did manage to get to the national championship despite losing to K-State in the Big 12 championship game. And TCU dealt Kansas State one of its biggest blows last year.
K-State was going to beat them. So, I am so convinced. They're up 18 when both quarterbacks go down.
K-State lost 3 regular season games last year, was it?
Yeah.
So this game didn't keep them out of the playoff necessarily, but maybe it impacted some later games. Either way, both of these two teams are, certainly were top 10 teams last year. And do you think either of them has that potential this year?
Kansas State, 100%. Kansas State returns their whole offensive line. I think they actually are going to become a more physical run team. And I like Deuce Vaughn, but I just don't. He wasn't a guy you can give the ball 30 times to and really make you fucking, feel the pain.
Yeah. Anytime you have the body of a 8.
Trayshawn Ward, though, from Florida State, that transfer that they brought in, he's good. He's good. And I think behind that seasoned offensive line and the fact that Will Howard has gotten better and better at throwing the ball, he can also run the ball too.
TCU remains a question. But we slept on Sonny Dykes before and he surprised us. Can he do it again?
Can he do it again? NC Nick, what do you make? Big hater of the Big 12, noted hater of the Big 12.
I had this as a top 5 game, not a top 3 game. I think that graphic behind you probably deserved to be played at number 3. But this was, both these games were interesting last year. Both teams have a lot of potential. It's a great game. I just would have played it maybe one spot after this.
You might be right.
Well, this all-time series, K-State leads 9-8. They have been playing for 100 years though. They played this back in 1922, the first time ever, where K-State won 45-0. What's up, Sammy Ball? Right? But yeah, I think it's a good play. I would have played one over it, and since it's my pick, look, there's one team that's been a problem, been a thorn for Lincoln Riley. And that is the Utah Utes, who, by the way, I saw NC Nick tweeting out some facts, them joining the Pac-12 and now looking to go to 3 straight, Rose Bowls, 3 straight Pac-12 championships, perhaps.
Just 13 years ago, they were in the Mountain West.
13 years ago, they won 2 national championships.
Now they're dominating a Power 5 conference.
They won a national championship in 2004 and 2008. They are. They're dominating. That's crazy. I remember the days of Scott Mitchell. They're barely winning. But yeah, this is a series that actually is a little closer than, USC's been so dominant historically, most draft picks in NFL history. And yet the all-time series is 12-9. And really, Utah's held their own since joining the Pac-12 against USC. So
they more than held their own last year.
They've won 3 straight against USC and they've won 4 of 6. So even their losses, there was one game in 2020 that they actually got beat down. But besides that, their other loss was a 1-score game at the Coliseum.
This shouldn't surprise us. USC was pretty damn average, for most of Utah's tenure in the Pac-12.
Yeah, so they were still USC though.
No surprise.
Yeah. So but this is a game that I feel like Utah is so great at home. If you're going to get them, you want to get them on the road.
Well, they handed them their only 2 losses last year outside of the Tulane game, which was a miraculous comeback by Tulane. So give them credit, which was a 1-point win for Tulane. But 12-2 prior to that, I should say 11-2. So USC probably really has this game circled on their calendar. Whether they can do anything about it, 47-24, and it doesn't even seem like it was that close. Utah,
Cameron Rising back too, so it's not like Utah's. We know Caleb Williams. Everyone would say best player in college football, and they're probably right. But Cam Rising, he's definitely one of the better quarterbacks in college football. He's back, and then Kyle Whittingham, I think one of the better coaches in all of college football.
Cam Rising is 3-0 against the Trojans.
Okay,
so Caleb Williams can win, all the trophies he wants. Cam Rising's winning the football games.
Where would you put Whittingham as? You think he's a top 10 college football coach, Nick?
Yeah. How could you not say what he's done with Utah over the last few years? How could you not?
Yeah, over the long haul, he was part of those staffs.
But especially
with Urban
right
Meyer,
now they're playing at such a high level year in, year out. You have to.
Yeah,
top 10 easily. Top 5, I want to see him. Obviously an expanded playoff would help him but I do think, losing to Florida, kind of inexcusable last year. And that's the difference between
but they also play 11 Power 5s.
True. But that was
this
the
year
first game of the season.
And Baylor. Sure. But it's at the Swamp. That ain't no
cakewalk.
Tennessee lost it at the Swamp last year, didn't they?
Sure. I'm not saying
I don't remember
cakewalk city or anything, but should have won that game. They were a much better team that really crushed his. They would have been in the playoffs if they had won that, right?
Probably, right? I don't remember
Unreal.
every game, but yeah. Anyway, that's my play. NC Nick, you're on the clock.
Well, I think it's definitely the last great rivalry this week, and let's go back to the Big Ten. Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan State, under Tucker, I don't know. We're not sure what they're going to be. But look, Harbaugh is only he's 4-4 versus Sparty, and Mel Tucker's 1-1 versus Harbaugh. And it is a great annual rivalry, and it's at Michigan State. So if it's going to be close, this is probably the year it's going to be close. You kind of feel like Michigan State may be trending downward. Obviously, Michigan is crushing it now, but it's still a great rivalry every year. So anything can happen.
I'm still Petty's. He witnessed my my large wager on Michigan when the punt game essentially. I had a punt. I had a lot of money on Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, and that fucking scumbag punter couldn't he just lay down? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, it's a little bit of a tough spot looking back at that play because I want to say they were up like 2 or 3 points at that point, and they're at their own 40-yard line.
There was only 3 seconds left or something. Like 7
there was
seconds.
like 7, but
yeah.
So they're gonna throw a Hail Mary.
They kick a long ass field goal potentially.
Not in that fucking cold weather.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It was a terrible fuck up.
Terrible fuck up. Michigan and Michigan State. Mel Tucker leads the series, I believe, right? That's part of his $100 million contract, right?
I think Mel Tucker's 1-1 now.
No, I think he's 2-1. I think he's
Is he
2-1,
2-1?
buddy. I think he won the first 2.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah. I think because they got him in 2020 and then 21 when they had the 11-2 season.
Yeah, you're crazy to think that just because they've had a little trouble lately that Michigan State is out of this game, especially at home. I mean, what's Michigan State's quarterback situation?
They lost their starting wide receiver and their quarterback in the past 2 weeks.
Well, in 2020 it was Mark D'Antoni.
No, that was Tucker's first year.
Well, then this website is wrong. Damn it.
Yep. Because I know this because I'm a Colorado fan.
Winspedia. Usually we can rely on Winspedia, but I'm showing right now in 2020. Yeah, Michigan State won 27-24, but it has D'Antoni listed. But I think you're right. That's wrong,
I know
right?
I'm right.
Yeah,
I know
right.
I'm right. Yeah. So
once again, the database better than the internet.
Dundee.
The internet is no longer undefeated.
Yes, exactly. But also Michigan State. I mean, I feel like if you go pre-2008, this was a rivalry dominated by Michigan. But after 2008, it is 14-5 is what Michigan State is leading that series at.
Big brother. They are big brother. Little brother grew up.
There we go. Shout out to Lane Elliott. Says, yo, what's good, my guys? I always enjoy hearing the college football talk. Let's go. Appreciate you. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience.
For me, that was an obvious top 5.
Yeah.
You guys agree with that?
Well,
Yeah.
the only problem is I think this year it could get like 3 weeks ago, I felt a lot better of that being a better game.
True.
Losing some of those key pieces, you're like, ooh, I don't know, but
An obvious top 5 and a heater of a top 5.
Weehawk says, is Pick Dundee better than Allen Iverson?
Well, Pick Dundee.
I know it's AI.
Not a game. Not a game.
It says AI. I was joking there. Sorry.
But anyway, look.
Kobe doesn't believe in practice either. Everything's on the.
Yeah. No
on the
practice.
We do it live.
That's
Fuck
right.
it. We'll do it live. To quote the great Bill O'Reilly. Huh?
The great? I don't know about that.
I'm not a Bill O'Reilly guy. I'm just saying.
He makes great quotes.
It's a
I
great
gotta
clip.
be honest.
It's a great clip.
That's what I'm saying. It's a great clip. It's like the Berman duh. Like have you seen that one where he's talking about the Canadian border?
I don't feel it.
And you got to watch that clip.
Dude,
Anyway,
I like Dustin's idea here. Chat Dundee instead of that Chat GP or whatever. Chat Dundee.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just sit there and answer everyone's questions.
And I'm not a Bill O'Reilly guy. All right. I like his auto parts.
We heard you the first time.
Yeah.
No.
All right. You know that. All right. I'm more of a what was that quarterback for Oregon? Is it O'Reilly in the 90s?
You're more of
What am I
a
thinking of? Yeah.
of a Chet Lemon guy.
Love Chet Lemon.
Yeah.
Love Chet Lemon. Detroit Tigers.
Not Don
Don
Lemon.
Lemon, Chet Lemon, same difference.
Chet Lemon. Don
Patty got me. Patty got me.
Don Lemon. He's unemployed too, right? Did they fire? Is O'Reilly? Does he still have a job?
I don't fucking know.
Limball's dead, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
What about Alex Jones? Is Alex Jones still doing his thing?
Is he an offensive tackle? Right.
Kobe's not a Tucker Carlson guy. He's a Cody Carlson guy.
That's right. That is 100% right. That's the only Commanders I know. All right. Folks, subscribe to the College Football Experience. But right now I got to get us paid. I want to tell you that the College Football Experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yeah. Have you signed up for Edge Boost yet? You need to. Because you're really missing out. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card, similar to buy now, pay later programs. Patty C, which I know you're used to. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments. That's right, 0% interest. Simply deposit funds into your account, and Edge Boost will match the deposit, so you can use 2 times the amount of the funds on any legal sports betting site. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances up to $2,500 you can get added to your bankroll. My Edge Boost double down play of the week is going back to the Pittsburgh Maulers. Subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast, which we all host. So look, we'll talk more about that on the USFL Gambling Podcast, but that's my lock. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Only valid in legal gambling states. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. We are back on the College Football Experience, and Patty C is on the clock.
Fun games all over the place, but I'm taking you one that is interesting. And this is ships passing in the night, the quintessential new blood versus old blood game here. And who is the new face of the Big 12, potentially the Golden Knights of UCF, traveling to Norman Stadium in Oklahoma.
Woo! Dylan Gabriel against his old school.
I like that angle.
JRP, John Rice Plumlee, potentially trying to light up Oklahoma. A 6-6 Oklahoma team last year. Meanwhile,
6-7.
6-7. That's right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Gus Malzahn getting it figured out toward the end of the year with the Golden Knights.
UCF won a national championship more recently than Oklahoma.
That's true. Offensive coordinator.
Jeff Lebby is still at Oklahoma.
Lebby wasn't at
yes, he used to be at UCF.
He was at UCF too.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, so a couple angles there. Either way, I'm just curious to see how UCF, assuming Oklahoma is back on track, and they weren't as bad as their record last year.
Lost a lot of close games and that Red River shootout 49-0. But yeah, besides that,
that's your head coach too for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Venimals. I think UCF will give them a run for their money and potentially pull the upset, and that alone with all those angles makes it a fun one.
NC Nick, UCF, Oklahoma. I don't believe they've ever played before, but I am going to double check.
It feels like a bowl game or something, right?
It does. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think it's an intriguing game. I think there's going to be lots of offense. It's going to be high paced. It's going to be a fun game to watch. But if I'm going to nitpick and be honest, there's one other old Big 12 versus new Big 12 game I like better. Maybe I'll play it next if Colby doesn't take it.
You keep shitting on every one of your picks, Patty C.
Nick's got a superiority complex over there. I'm curious which game he's got in mind. I mean, they are two good teams in the other game that I see, and one of them is one of my teams. So that should tell you right there that I think this is the superior game. Hey, brand names matter, Nick. This is TMZ Pat you're talking to, buddy.
My game has a brand name also, and I think there's a little bit more of an interesting angle there. But let's just wait until and see. Let's see what Colby plays here.
Well, I hate to do it to you, buddy, but you want brand names? This team has won New Year's 6 games against Florida State. They have beaten Oklahoma. They have played for a national championship back in '79 against Joe Montana. And the Texas Longhorns have always tried to duck play in the Houston Cougars because they're a bunch of pussies. All right. Yep. And here we are, Texas at Houston. Dana Holgerson, you guys may not know this, but he kind of had a knack for fucking with Texas when he was at West Virginia. And now he's back in the Big 12 and he's at Houston please, Houston Cougars. Like this is if you told me, Colby, I give you 10 wins, you can deem out to the college football world this season. This is top 5. This is top 5.
This is on your wish list. Pretty high.
Top 5. This might even be number 1. No, Colorado, Nebraska would probably be my number 1.
Yeah.
But this is close. This is really fucking close, man, because I know all the bullshit Texas has done to keep Houston down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
This is up there as one that just please, Dana Holgorsen, I don't care if you go 1-11, win this fucking game. Please win this game. Patty C, what do you make of Houston against Texas?
No, do we have that confirmed, like that Texas had? I mean, that had always been kind of, I feel like a spoken rumor that I'd seen written on paper here and there, that Houston obviously had wanted to come along. They were former Southwest Conference, conference mates. And now once the Big 12 and Southwest Conference, or Big 8 and Southwest Conference merged to the Big 12, Houston was left out
because they wanted to recruit Houston.
Yeah.
They wanted to get in there.
They've been stuck in group of 5, no man's land for the last 30 years. And now Houston finally comes in, and Texas is on their way out. How about a fuck you? And
Texas has won 7 straight, but they haven't played in over 20 years, folks. Haven't played in over 20 years. All right. Go back to the Andre Ware, David Klingler, Jack Pardee was the head coach. They were fucking up Texas back in 87, 88, and 89, 91. They
wasn't
won 4
that
or
the
5.
game or was it the SMU Texas game, or was it Houston Texas, where it was like one of the most blatant home cooking on the on behalf of Texas?
I think it was Houston. Yeah,
dude, you want to watch one of the worst needs for instant replay of all time.
We love college football here, but if you want to look at shady, like to me, the shadiest state.
Yeah.
When it comes to the way that SMU and also Houston got hit with the penalties in the early 90s.
Yeah.
That is when Texas and Texas A&M were doing the same shit. The state of Texas.
That's some Friday Night Lights shit where it's like, I didn't believe it until I saw that video. And I was like, dude, 2 feet inbounds, easy.
Yeah. And the ref's like, nope.
Yeah. Game over.
I'm telling you, everything was, this is a huge game. This is a fucking huge game. Please, Houston, don't fuck this up. Nick, what do you make of this one?
You stole my thunder. This is the exact game I was talking about. Thank you, Big 12, for scheduling this, because I can't wait to see what that Houston crowd looks like, because they're going to be salivating at the chance to knock off the Longhorns in their last year in the Big 12. I think
if I was in charge of College Game Day, or if we had a jet at SGPN where we go, this is the game I'd be at. It wouldn't be Penn State, Ohio State. It wouldn't be Tennessee, Bama. It would probably be Texas at Houston, because I want to be part of that misery.
Yeah. I just think Texas and Oklahoma road games this year in general are going to be heightened, in all of our lists, because of the atmospheres that those two teams are going to walk into. But I feel like Texas is still hated more than Oklahoma. I feel like Oklahoma just kind of latches onto them and rides their coattails some.
Yeah. No, what Texas deserves more hatred, because they haven't been winning, and they think they have won national championships since integration, and they think there's some fucking like juggernaut. And it's like, no, at least Oklahoma's won like almost every decade. You know what I mean? Like they're actually for real. You know what I mean? Like Texas.
Yeah. Well, Texas, let's be honest. They are the state flagship school of the largest, like most populous state that actually gives a fuck about football. I guess California has a few million more people, but US, I mean, they are Texas. They are the brand that, garners the most attention, whether it's deserved or not.
Whether it's deserved or not. All right, folks, I want to tell you before we get to the next pick, which will be NC Nick's, that the college football experience is brought to you by Shady Rays and Shady May. Yeah, Shady Rays is teaming up with SGPN for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off, but you also get a chance to win $500 of cold hard cash. Yeah. And Shady Ray has you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Shady Rays has durable frames and extremely clear optics for all those outdoor adventures. All right. Maybe you're going to some football games this fall. Don't go to the indoor ones. Little pick Dundee advice. Little tip from the pros. All right. Shady Rays has, they have you covered though. Cause look, if you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us to send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Look, and if you don't love them, you can also exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. So let's say you're maybe one of these Houston Cougar fans, been waiting 30 fucking years or 25 years to play Texas. Oh, and you see that game on the schedule before they continue to be the sissies that they are and move along to another conference, even though they can barely win, right? and you go to that game, yeah, I'll take one. And you go to that game and you're having a great old time as Holgerson pulls off that magic fourth quarter comeback. You start talking shit to all the Texas Longhorn fans there, and some guy just pops you a shiner right in the face while you're wearing your sunglasses, breaks, destroys, and then you destroy him because, let's be honest, you're a Houston Cougar fan. You're going to win that fight. So you're broken. Your sunglasses are broken. All you got to do is tell Shady Rays. They're not even going to ask questions. They're not going to ask if you were cherry bombed at the whatever stadium that is. So go to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. And look, right now for our international listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. And remember, May is almost over, so make sure to take your receipt over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500 in the Shady May contest. All right, we are back on our Week 8 preview. NC Nick is on the clock. What are you doing?
All right, maybe a little bit of a drop off here. Maybe I'm playing this too soon, but I was going to take a Big 12 game and you stole it from me. So let me go back to what I know and let me steal a game from Patty C. And let me play the first weekday game of the week. Woo! And that is Thursday night, Sun Belt, Fun Belt, baby. JMU at Marshall. Patty C remembers the Thundering Herd going into Bridgeforth Stadium last year.
Bridgeforth Connect.
That too. And Kalon Laybourne running for $150 and a couple touchdowns getting that W.
Well, let me tell you what helps. Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, Todd Centeio. I don't know if he played at all. At the very least, he was at the very best, he was 50%.
He did not play in that game. Good point.
But you know what I can tell you? It doesn't matter. What's Petty C's excuse for the other 2 times? Because they are winless against the Thundering Herd, 0-3 all time.
But also, to Petty C's point, in his absence, Billy Atkins, who played quarterback for the Dukes that game, threw 4 picks.
It was ugly. And Todd Centeio.
Maybe he had a burrito before the game. Right?
Yeah. I mean, no, if he had a burrito, he would have thrown 4 touchdowns. Let's be honest. That's performance enhancing drug right there. Look, it was tough. Yeah. And, having an in-state guy come back home and slice us up like that, not very cool. I'm glad, though, there was someone that could give us some competition. It would have been pretty boring if we had come in and run the table year 1.
Now, to be fair, that was the first matchup ever in Harrisonburg. All right. And to not have your starting quarterback, the other 2 were in Huntington. Patty C lost back in '94. Eric Kresser in overtime.
Yeah, we're playing against like Randy Moss. Give me a break.
No, but I do want to see what a home crowd in the state of West Virginia looks like on a Thursday night, because I imagine it'll be lively.
Oh, this will be a good spot.
Oh yeah, I like both these.
The programs. Amount of drinking. What? I'll tell you this: when we played West Virginia my senior year, and we all went to that game. That was one of the most lit tailgating experiences I've ever been to.
I was I can tell you I was taking screenwriting classes at UCLA. One of my teachers, Marshall graduate, he flies back 4 times a year for home games.
Wow.
So
all right,
I like that guy already.
The Marshall fans,
West Virginians, man.
There we go.
In general, are gonna get hammered, and they're gonna take the environment serious. If nothing else, I mean, there's got to be a reason that West Virginia, like Nick pointed out, despite within the state a pretty big lack of talent at their disposal, usually is a pretty competitive team.
Charles Huff, guy. Remember we had Bud Foster on the show last year, and he said Charles Huff can coach. He's a rising star in the industry as they won at Notre Dame last year.
He has been a surprise, a pleasant surprise.
All right, Patty C, it jumps to you.
Well, we got some games here. This is where I think it really. I mean, I guess that game was a little higher than I would have even played it. So I appreciate the compliment, Nick. Sunbelt Nick. But
don't do it.
I'm not doing it. I know it's there.
Don't do it.
It's there, but I'm not going to do it yet. I am taking us to Hayden Fry country again.
Yes.
Kirk Ferentz country again. And the Golden Gophers will play against the Golden Hawkeyes.
Woo! Minnesota at Iowa. You're pissing Nick off with these plays. Now you go Big Ten West. But look, these games have been fun, and I actually think I'm going to make this prediction. This will dictate who wins the Big Ten West.
In some way, shape, or form, of course it will. Whether it be knocking one of these teams that like
no, but I think these are the top two. I'm not buying into this Dairy Raid shit in year one. All right, all right. You take your Dairy Raid offense. We love Mike Leach, but I think it's going to take 2 years.
It's certainly the most two established coaches in the Big Ten West, other than Fitzgerald, and it doesn't look like Northwestern is in any position to battle for the division. Maybe they'll surprise us again. Who knows? But other than that, you got a bunch of young coaches, man.
They've been playing Minnesota and Iowa since 1891, and Minnesota leads the all-time series by only 7 games. You got to love this rivalry. Awesome. But how about this though? PJ Fleck, you might be rowing the boat, but you don't row the boat against the Hawkeyes. They have not beaten Iowa since 2014.
Wow.
Kirk Ferentz says, "Yeah, your little row the boat nonsense. Get the fuck out of here. I'll sink your fucking battleship, you little bitch."
I'm worried about a new Minnesota quarterback on the road at Iowa.
Yeah, this is going to be a dominating blowout. That'll be 13-7.
Well, I compare PJ Fleck to Matt Campbell a little bit stylistically, you know, both offensively and defensively. I feel like their teams look the same, and Kirk Ferentz tends to get the better of both of them. Will it happen again this year? The game is in Iowa, right?
Dude, how could you be this good at winning all these close games? Like, look at this: 13-10, 27-22, 23-19, 17-10, 14-7, 40-35. Every Kirk Ferentz is like, I don't need to blow you. They're Iowa blowouts. These are Iowa blowouts. All right.
Yeah, if it's by two scores, that's an absolute domination. Look, Floyd of Rosedale, probably the best trophy in all of college football. Big fat pig. I can relate. Look,
I'm sorry. I said 7 games. That is not true. I misread the number. They have a 20-game lead. The Minnesota Golden Gophers do.
Wow. That's kind of surprising.
Well, Iowa chipping away at that.
Well, from 1891 to 1923, Iowa had 0 wins against Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota, aren't they the last team to have a 3 straight national championships in college football?
I was about to say, Iowa only won. They played every year starting in 1891, and Iowa only won their 4th game by 1940. That is called getting their ass
slow start.
Putting yourself in a hole there.
But hey, they've won now what 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of 11 against the Golden Gophers. Fleck, row.
Let me tell you this too, right? Iowa gets all the credit for the cornfields, right? Minnesota has some fucking corn in it. There is some corn in Minnesota.
There's got to be a couple stalks somewhere.
10,000 lakes, my ass. All right, you got corn there. You got corn.
They're probably jealous of all the corn love that Iowa gets.
I bet. It's a thing up there.
Corn envy.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
corn
right.
envy.
Big corn envy.
All right, I'm on the clock. Okay, look, I got to. Let's stay in the fine, the amazing Big Ten West.
Oh, you have to,
because you got. I mentioned the Dairy Raid offense, Wisconsin. Really pissing me off by going to look. I love the air raid. People think I hate the air raid. That's not true. I believe the air raid should exist at a lot of schools. Wisconsin is not one of them. All right. I hope they go 0-12. I'll be honest. I hope they go 0-12 this year because I hate the fact they're doing this, and they hate Brett Bielema. But Brett Bielema, he knows Wisconsin football. All right.
This is a great game.
You're telling me Dairy Raid's got to go into Champaign. And that little cha shit against Brett, Margarita and Cabo, Bielma? No. Oh, am I going to be a big Illinois fan this week?
Let me ask you this: Barry Alvarez, Brett Bielema, Paul Christ, and then who is most recent?
Luke Fickell? Jim Leonard.
Leonard. No, who it was Chris? Chris got fired for, and Leonard replaced him. Chris was there more recently than I thought. He had a sleepy little tenure. I guess that's why he got fired. Either way, is Bielema the quintessential Wisconsin coach over the past few decades, or is it Alvarez?
No, he's the best since Alvarez.
Alvarez had some great years, and he was the AD, so he's more Wisconsin. But I feel like Bielema being kind of looking like an offensive lineman when I think of Wisconsin football, I think of Bielema more
And
than
I think
of Alvarez.
Wisconsin's going to get fucked up here when they come to Champaign. NC Nick, you hate the Big Ten West. Why will you not be watching this?
Well, no, actually, I think this game is better than Minnesota, Iowa, and for two reasons. I think the Wisconsin angle, not to shit on Patty again.
You shit on every one of your picks, Patty. What happened when I was down there in South America?
No, but
we did some episodes together. Things went sideways.
I just think that Wisconsin is must-watch TV because I'm very intrigued on how that offense will click, and I think you're selling the Illini short coal with saying just Minnesota or Iowa is going to win the Big Ten West. Illinois deserves to be right in that conversation. And I think a big home win against the Badgers could, solidify them to be right in the mix.
I love Big Ten West football, but I do not like the current move of Graham Harrell and Phil Longo coming into what I love in the Big Ten West, which is like a throwback. I love the fact in college football, I can turn on the Big Ten West and be a part of 1940 at any time. Right. And for these intruders to come in here, these moles, and try to give us 2023 bullshit football. All right. In the Big Ten West, that's for the Big Ten East, maybe. Even that's a maybe. That's for Ohio State, maybe. All right. I want to see great special teams, great defense, and minimal offense. All right. So fuck you, Wisconsin. Go Illini. Let's fucking go. All right.
Well, let me tell you why Nick is more intrigued by this game, because he respects Phil Longo's offense. And why does he respect Phil Longo's offense? Because
UNC
Duke had won 3 in a row against UNC prior to his arrival, and then boom, rattle off 4 straight wins, including
last year's bullshit.
56-24, a 38-7. Nick has nightmares about Phil Longo, so of course he wants to watch him.
Well, I mean, do you guys remember what Bielema did to Wisconsin last year?
Well, I don't remember. No.
Oh, he went.
It's Big Ten football, Big Ten West football.
34.
We don't remember it.
Very forgettable.
34-10 in Madison.
Ooh.
Illinois came in there and said, "Hey, that might have been the game. I think that's the game that got Chris fired." And that might have been the game where Barry Alvarez was like, "You know what? We can't do ground and pound against Bielema and Ferentz. They're goddamn professionals. You know what I mean?" So
appreciate Weehawk in the chat giving us the corn production by state.
Iowa, and if you're not watching on YouTube, it is Iowa the 1 seed, Illinois the 2 seed, Nebraska the 3 seed. Wow, the
Illinois,
sneaky.
Corn.
I love how Chloe says the 1, 2, and 3 seed like it's a tournament or something.
The 4 seed is Minnesota. The 5. Look, there's 50 states. I want to know the corn rankings. Indiana being 4th or 5th. I'm not that surprised by that. I spent some time in Southern Illinois for a couple nights.
Yeah, anything south of Chicago, I feel like it has to be a cornfield.
Dude, Southern Illinois looks like that scene in Shawshank Redemption where he's looking for the fucking the rock. You know what I mean? Or it's like Field of Dreams or something. It just looks fields.
Scenic as shit.
Yeah, just fields everywhere. All right. NC Nick, you are on the clock.
Well, first, if I could answer Blanton in the chat. Blanton, I went to George Mason University, who, as we know, does not have a football team. So I started off as a Duke basketball fan in the 90s, became a Duke football fan.
80s, actually.
80s, yeah. And then moved down to the Triangle. That's why I kind of support a lot of North Carolina teams, except for UNC. So with that answer and with that said, the game I will take you to is an ACC game, Duke at Florida State. People are already crowning the Seminoles as a top 5, top 10 national contender.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about the little Duke Blue Devils who are playing some pretty good football these days. This has a fun matchup, and it could be for a potential berth in the ACC championship game.
You know, if I wish this was in Durham, because that's the one thing, a lit environment like this. But I mean, can we talk about this? I mean, I know Patty C is buying into Florida State, but have you seen
Patty C's been buying into Florida State every year since
As a matter of fact, I'm buying into Florida State less than the prognosticators more this year than almost any other year. I think they're way jumping the gun on how good they're going to be.
Okay. There we go. We got that. I
think they'll be good. I don't think 10 wins is going to be tough. I don't think they're like Bowden, Florida State yet.
Wait, Duke has never beaten Florida State? It's 19-0. Is that what I'm seeing right now? Didn't they play for an ACC championship not that long ago?
The times they are changing. They lost in that ACC championship game. You're right. It was closer than expected. The game was. So hey, records.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. It's 45-7. Maybe it was closer than expected. Patty C.
In the first half.
Yeah. 17-10 though in 2014. That was a close
reference
one.
is saying 21-0 in Florida State's favor.
Wow. Okay, this is a bold play by NC Nick for a guy talk a lot of shit about your picks, Patty C. For him to throw this one out there.
Let me tell you this too about this rivalry.
It's not a rivalry.
This game has been within more than or less than 19 points one time in its history.
These are bad stats.
That is me grabbing the NC Nick playing this game is me grabbing the Heineken alcohol-free beer. All right,
look, maybe there was a Homer angle here, obvious Homer angle. Okay,
you know what the problem, Nick? You know what you got to do in these battles when Patty C's coming for you. You got to just blame it on Scotty Montgomery because he not only did he coach at Duke, he played at Duke.
That's right.
So you can really blame.
He's actually a decent wide receiver, but throw all that history aside, I think this actually is going to be a good, entertaining game and a close one.
I do too. I think Elko's got this program going. I think he's got it going. Watch out for the Duke Blue Devils. All right, look, I gotta go to the B side here. Hang on for a second. And we are back on the college football experience B side. Oh yeah, we are going. And NC Nick just the ballsiest play of the draft, in my opinion. But I do think Mike Elko could have this. Look, you go back and look. Like I said, 16 points away from being undefeated a year ago. They were close.
Well, when you think about,
did you want to play some more Big 12 games, Colby?
Well, yeah, over what one time this game ever has been within 16 points or less.
19 points.
19 points or less. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll take a Pioneer League football game over this one.
I'm guessing the average point differential in this game is over 4 touchdowns. If I'm looking at this correctly, it seems like most of these games are.
You know what the problem was? Is Spurrier was a sellout. He ditched Duke.
Yeah.
He ditched Duke, and they had him going. We were talking Dave Brown earlier in the office.
And Krzyzewski at the same time.
Oh man, imagine if Spurrier would have stayed.
They had potential to be.
He's killing me. He's killing me. He had Ben Bennett,
son of a
Anthony Dilwig, and then going into Dave Brown, 3 straight NFL
Pumping out
quarterbacks.
NFL quarterbacks.
Imagine if you had Christian Leitner and Danny Werfel back to back at Duke.
Oh man, don't get me started. All right,
Nick's got 3/4 chub over there just thinking about it.
Where the hell's my NFL draft music? Patty C, you're on the clock.
Ooh, a couple good ones out there, a couple fun ones out there, a couple TMZ ones out there, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take you to another game that, again, Nick will undoubtedly say is played too high. And it's funny because when we talked about brand names, I guess maybe I wasn't looking at the Texas Houston game, but it is a third old blood versus new blood. I guess you're going to have 4 of those per week usually, unless they're playing against each other. Big 12 game. And the most relevant of the big time teams in these games lately are probably in this game. And that's Baylor at Cincinnati.
Woo! Baylor at Cincinnati. Have these teams ever played? I don't think so. You got what Baylor 2 years ago? What almost went to the college football playoffs invitational.
Cincinnati did in their place.
Cincinnati did in their place. So there is that angle. NC Nick, we know you hate the Big 12. Talk to me about Cincinnati at Baylor.
No,
Baylor
actually,
at Cincinnati.
Baylor at Cincinnati.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry.
Which makes it more appealing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean Baylor's got a nice home field and everything too, but Nippert is Nippert. So no, actually, I think this is an interesting game. I've been telling you guys the whole Nick hates the Big 12 is a little overblown.
That's because they added. No. That's because they added some teams over by you.
Yeah,
they added UCF.
I'm liking it more
added
now.
some coastal teams.
They added some coastal teams. Hey, the Big 12's not so bad. Big 10 West should do the same thing. Big 10 West is look. Big 10 West is they're just going ocean. They're going West Ocean.
They're going the wrong direction. Yeah,
Nick believes in coastal football.
Coastal Carolina. Come on.
No, so where was I? What was I going to say here? You sidetracked me. I don't even know. But no, actually. So every week I've been saying that the newness of a lot of these Big 12 games is appealing. And I think this one's there too. And at this point in the list, I think you can name anything. I probably wouldn't have too much of an argument because we've definitely dropped off to a second or a third tier now where we have some interesting matchups like this one, but I can't argue with it for sure.
I mean, we have the Sugar Bowl champion from 2 years ago versus the I guess a college football playoff team from 2 years ago. That shouldn't be that serious of a drop off, but I agree. Like it's such a stacked week that it is probably tier 3 in this week. Yeah, I think you were talking about Nippert though, Nick. You think that makes it a more? Who do you have favored in this game?
I just think Cincinnati lost so much. I got to favor Baylor
on the road. You don't think it's a long road trip? Are you on it? Do you honestly think Nippert's a tough place to play? What's the is it like 50,000 now? They finally got it up.
They expanded that thing, right?
Well, I would be more concerned about Cincy playing on the road at Baylor because I do think Baylor might be in store for a little bit of a bounce back year. I think Cincy may be in store for a little bit of a downgrade. But the fact that it's at home, I think it's anybody's ball game.
Nippert just over 40,000. I agree with you that at Baylor, I look as a Cincy fan, I have to say, like playing Power 5 football every week is a little tougher, And so, am I concerned that they're going to be able to do it week in, week out? I am. Obviously, Vegas is giving them 4.5 wins. I think they're going to be way better than that, and I think Nippert is a tough place to play. But I also think playing at home against kind of inferior competition helps you win a lot of games.
Did they give Cincinnati West Virginia to end the season?
I don't know. You want me to look?
Yeah, can you look? Because if the Big 12 dropped the ball on that, because look, if we don't have the backyard brawl at the end of the season, I like Cincinnati taking on West Virginia every year, and I think that'd be great.
Make a lot of sense. So Cincinnati ends the year at home versus Kansas.
They fucking hey Yormark, give me a call.
How have they not figured out the season ending right? We're like 150 some odd years into college football. You got a new season ending rivalry.
Why Kansas? Are they going to try to prop that up as a rivalry now? Why is Kansas not playing Kansas State?
I'm at because they haven't playing Iowa State, right? I don't understand it. I don't understand it all. Blanton Stanley says we should do a Q&A episode. Let us know if you think we should. You got so many questions. Also, feel free to fire away in the chat. We'll try to answer them. It's going to jump over to me, and NT Nick's really going to hate this play.
What the hell's a super chat? $10.
Wow.
What does that mean?
Wow. I like this. Rick Barnes beat Duke in March, though. GBO Farms talking shit.
Boom.
Super chat. Is this like one of LeBron James's chats? We get super teams together.
Did he pay for the super chat comment here? Why is he in a different color?
I don't know.
Who gets that money?
I don't know technology. All right.
Yeah.
I'm still watching Iowa's offense.
Patty C could use some money if you got some extra. I'm joking.
Yeah. Help your brother out.
Look, I'm taking you to a game that I've long said, pick Dundee as commissioner of college football. And this game will be played every Thanksgiving morning. Every single Thanksgiving morning. And by the way, when they play the other team, that would be played on Veterans Day every year. All right.
Beautiful.
I am talking about Air Force at Navy. So either Air Force or Navy or Air Force at Army. Those two games should rotate, or you just stick to one and one on Veterans Day, the other on Thanksgiving. But instead of us being forced to watch some filthy fucking Detroit Lion football in Ford Field, I want to watch what makes America great. All right. Air Force, Navy, triple option football. They're trying to take it from us. We're pushing back. Fuck you, college football 2023. This game's still fantastic. It was a 3-point game a year ago. Give me Air Force at Navy. Patty C. Navy's got a new head coach in Brian Newberry.
Kind of new.
Yeah, kind of new.
Newberry.
But he's bringing in the Kennesaw State offense, and look, this game's it's going to be fun. This game is, they are playing it the wrong week. This should be Thanksgiving, but we know Nick hates this game. But have you talk him? Nick doesn't like America. All right, he'd rather watch one of these, one of these Chinese offenses. All right,
I'll say this.
That means.
I'll say this. He said, "What was your quote there?"
So he's watching those Chinese offenses. No, I don't know what that means.
You guys know what a fucking Chinese offense is.
Passing the ball around, passing the ball around.
Guys, we do not want to get banned on YouTube again. Okay?
That's true. I already got banned for my comments on Russia.
I love the Chinese. I love Russia.
They're clever.
Chinese
okay,
food's
they have
incredible.
clever offenses. Cha 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 sounds like a Chinese dish. So a cha 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 is a
Air Force and Navy though.
Nick is
Talk
disgusted
good
over it.
about this game before Nick shits on it.
Look, this game is awesome. Of course, it's triple option football. It's the less, probably the least popular of the what do they call that competition? Commander in Chief trophy.
Commander in Chief, baby.
And so I think the fact that it's at Navy really benefits. We have a first year coach for how long is was it Calhoun or no? Who's that Air Force coach? I'm drawing a blank.
Troy Calhoun.
Calhoun.
Yeah.
How long has he been there?
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So new blood versus old blood. Dustin Wiese is a real American and he wants to watch this. Nick, take a shit on this game for us.
Yeah. And what do you guys think of my Thanksgiving idea?
I disagree because look, I think Army Navy should be on Thanksgiving.
Well, well, obviously I'd be okay with that too.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, in my opinion, we get those matchups. What? And
if Army Navy can't be on Thanksgiving, then yes, I love this on Thanksgiving.
Yes. And then the other one should be on Veterans Day.
I love that.
Which
Army Navy had been Thanksgiving weekend forever. I guess if you don't want it to get lost in the shuffle and you want to give it its proper due, then yeah, either Black Friday in a spot all by itself. I don't even think that gives it enough love though. I mean, honestly, after championship weekend, it's kind of an afterthought. It's like watching an exhibition football game a little bit. I think if you put that on the noon time slot on Thanksgiving, it'd be amazing.
I would be okay with that too. Yeah. But I'm saying if they're going to stick to that, put Air Force Navy or Air Force Army on Thanksgiving every Thursday. Nick, your thoughts?
I am totally on board with that. I want college football to start battling back against the NFL. Because college football is better. It's a better product. And you know what? If this game was on Thanksgiving morning or Thanksgiving early afternoon, I would definitely watch it more so than I would on a random Saturday with all these games. I'm not hating on it, but we talk about this every year, Patty C. I think Patty C kind of agrees with me here. I know I've been shitting on him all episode, but now I'm going to ask. I'm going to extend the olive branch and say, don't we always say that triple option versus triple option sometimes gets pretty fucking boring?
Well, it does, and especially this is
never
like
blowouts.
This is like, what's that movie where she's trying to make fetch a word? I'm trying to make
what movie is that?
Homoaesthetical a word, right?
Fletch.
Yeah.
Fletch is a great movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie. No, Army and Navy are homoaesthetical, right? And they have the same exact look. And when you put triple option against triple option and they look exactly the same with that same helmet and everything, then I mean, at least they've changed it, which I don't even like. I prefer that than these wild uniforms they're putting together. But it does get pretty boring, right? But if you get the lightning bolt against the gold, then at least you kind of have a different
I would
feel.
argue, we talked Tennessee, Alabama last year. That I would agree that was the best game of the whole season. But I think Army Navy, the way that Navy lost last year, and I think it was a top 5 game of the year last year.
Well,
so,
if you like competitive football games, which we all should,
yes,
Army Navy always delivers on that one.
Nick always hates on it. Nick, you're next on the clock.
GBO Farms is getting wild with this money he's throwing around somehow. So, GBO Farms, keep your money.
Where does this money go?
I have no idea. China,
please.
Yeah. So go to the TCE NIL.
That's a true degen right there.
Keep your money, buddy. We'll meet up and we'll buy you some beers.
We got to meet up. We got to do a meet and greet. Yeah. GBO Farms.
I think person. That could
dude,
be
the college experience
Q&A.
meet and greet better have keg stands. We better be fucking doing it right.
Man.
It's true. That's true.
Right.
Okay.
All right. It's my turn.
Fire away.
And if we're going to do a meet and greet, maybe we should do it at SEC game because it just means more. No.
Hello.
No, I'll say that Knoxville's amazing.
Look,
I would go to Knoxville again. Yeah.
We've only picked one SEC game and we've picked 10, 12 games or something. So it's not the best week for the SEC, but Mississippi State at Arkansas is a solid football game in the SEC West against two teams that have been, pretty damn good over the last few years. So it's about time we showed the SEC some love. They don't get enough attention in the media,
I like this game though. I like this game for some reason. I feel like this is not, you sprinkled last year or last week that old random Ole Miss game. Like, I kind of get bored by it. Mississippi State, Arkansas, something about it I like. So Patty C, what do you make of the Bulldogs and the Razorbacks? They've been playing since really 1916, the first matchup. 1916 in the all-time series. Arkansas has a 4-game lead.
Look, I respect the play. The tables have turned as of this moment. Not the first SEC West game I would have played here. But I will say this: I appreciate it because these are probably the two least sexy teams in the SEC West. Would you agree? Maybe A&M. I guess A&M though.
No, I think it's
A&M,
these two.
It's these two.
Yeah.
And look, they are just generally playing against the big boys and holding their own. So you got to respect that. And both of them scrapping and have made their programs respectable. I know both of them have gone through some hard times, but here they both are. And maybe this game boosts one of them up into the conversation for the Big Ten West or the SEC West. Probably not.
Last year, Mississippi State won 40-17. 40-17. But no Mike Leach, no more air raid. Should be interesting. I like this play. I think it's so okay. I'm looking at the other SEC games. And I think I would have this number one.
It's a close call. I know what Patty C's alluding to, but this was a hair in front of it for me at least.
Respect.
All right, before we get to Patty C's next pick, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Have you signed up with Edge Boost? If not, you're missing out. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Yes, similar to buy now, pay later programs. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments. That's right, 0% interest. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances. Yes, up to $2,500 you can add to your bankroll. My Edge Boost double down play of the day is the Pittsburgh Maulers this weekend in the United States Football League. Remember, subscribe to the USFL Gambling Podcast, but also go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Only valid in legal gambling states. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. I did see a question, I guess, before we get to that. Blanton says, he has, what's your best college football memory, whether it was at a game or TV or on TV in person? And see, we can answer both maybe, but
man, I have a couple.
That's a hard one.
I have a couple. So, in the early 2000s or so, like our crew from Northern Virginia area, we all dispersed, but every year we would come back for college football week 1. Colby would fly from the West Coast. I'd come up from the Carolinas. Other guys would come in town, wherever they moved to. And one of the games, Blanton will like it, is App State, Michigan. That was the first year that we all got back together and we were watching it in a bar going fucking crazy when App State beat Michigan. And the other Colby will love is when ECU beat Virginia Tech, because we were at a Hokie bar and we had like 8 guys wearing purple ECU shirts. And when they blocked that punt, was it? Or
block punt to win the game. Block punt, like a minute and a half left. Block the punt.
Just off the top of my head, those two stand out.
Yeah, I mean, for me, those ones would be up there. I mean, NC Nick said he coming into the year, this is how he was watching the FCS back then, because he said, "Watch out, App State could give Michigan a game," and I thought he was crazy.
So they got a quarterback.
I knew App State was good
and athleticism. Watch out,
Michigan,
for Armani Edwards.
And Michigan was top 5 in the nation, so it was like preseason. I was like, nah, I don't think so, man. But damn, if he wasn't right. And then the ECU game, obviously, I remember that as like one of my favorite games ever. But the ECU one's up there for me too. But for me, I have a big time memory. It's like one of the first times one of my first real gambling experiences. We had a friend in the neighborhood, lived a couple houses down, and he bet me that Michigan would beat Colorado. And back in the day, we were stuck with NC Nick's ACC local.
Is this Rocket left?
Yes, we had Rocket left. Colorado's Hail Mary against Michigan. Now that was a top 5 matchup. I think it was number 2 against number 3, or 3 against 4. We couldn't get that game. We had Clemson and UVA on, right? And Clemson was terrible back then, right? So you were just like, oh my God, why the fuck do I gotta watch? Like, so I had to listen to this on the radio. And I got to be honest, when Colorado actually should have won that game, they fumbled. Rashawn Salam fumbled a couple times as they were about to score, but there's 6 seconds left. You know, we had just got the ball on a kickoff, and my buddy's like, pay up. And I was just being a smart ass saying, dude, there's one more play. We're going to score. Relax. And then they actually fucking scored.
Oh,
and, Cordell Stewart throws that ball 73 yards in the air. So that one to me will always stand out, even though I didn't like watch it.
Especially Michigan at that time was like, who would you compare them to? Like Alabama right now? No, they weren't that dominant, but they were
very good. Yeah.
That brand, when they're good in the national championship conversation year in, year out, Michigan's kind of special. To beat them on that kind of play is amazing.
And there was another classic game in the 90s that I listened to on the radio, Florida State, Virginia.
Colby's best memories are games he listened to on the radio.
No. Well, look, mom made me go to sleep as a child. You know, like that game went late. You and our other brothers, got a chance to watch that. I had to actually go upstairs, and I was like, I was pissed off at my mom because I'm the youngest. And so I was like, oh, I'm dialing in the radio. So I listened to that Percy Ellsworth, stopping War Gun.
Oh, yeah, that was a great game.
That game was incredible. It was
that was a Thursday night game.
Back when they used to schedule big time matchups on weeknight games. So
I mean, that ball was so close to the end zone. It was. I mean,
that game was incredible. Patty C, what's a couple you got?
It's funny because there's so many great ones that it's hard to pinpoint one that I didn't get to watch the UVA Florida State.
I didn't watch it. I listened, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't listen to it either.
Yeah.
But saw it after the fact. I was like, yeah! But I couldn't believe we actually had pulled the upset on that one. But I would say just in terms of experience would probably be the Texas USC national championship game. Just being at that bar. I had a buddy who had $70,000 on the game and they lost. So it was kind of one of these things where the entire bar is just like awestruck at what we're watching. But like the people around our buddy who is like he blew up with the online like poker gambling. He was one of the stars that like blew up in poker gambling. So he had so much money, but he lost 70,000 that night. He was not happy. But
and there's also ones that go the other way. Like I was rooting for Kentucky when LSU completed that Hail Mary.
That one was fucking hilarious.
Just like Michigan State when I had that money.
But I didn't have a dog in the fight. I turned that game on with like 10 seconds left and saw that play. But as far as my favorite, like kind of in-person experience, our buddy, Danny McGregor, or I shouldn't say his name. Went to Virginia Tech, got a scholarship. I got to go on one of his recruiting visits down there and, did the meal with the team. I saw Frank Beamer and all them up close. He's like pointing out these dudes, a lot of dudes that would later be in the NFL. He's like, that's Jeff King. He's like 6'7" tight end. I'm like, that dude's fucking huge. And then, Thomas, who's the fucking Kevin Jones? Kevin Jones was the #1 recruit in the nation. I wasn't really following recruiting rankings super closely back then. And I was like, whatever. He was like, that's Kevin Jones. He didn't say he was the #1 recruit. And then I was like, okay, he just looked like some regular dude. He's wearing like a jersey with like a coat underneath it. I'm like, yeah, he's just some dude. And we go down to the field. We're in the corner of the end zone and like all the cameras are on Michael Vick. This is after his almost national championship winning freshman year. And then all of a sudden all the cameras turn and right next to me is Kevin Jones. And all these cameras run over and start filming him. And I was just like, holy shit, look at this guy. And I was like, and then that was my first and only game that I ever got to see in Blacksburg. And the stadium was just so fucking overpoweringly loud. I was like, dude, college football is the shit.
I've been very lucky that and I know we got to get back to the draft, but
it's a great question that we could do like a whole episode on.
I've been very lucky though. I went at one point. I've been to a lot of games that ended on the final play of the game. And I went to a Virginia Tech Thursday night game that they actually lost to West Virginia on a goal line stand by West Virginia. Virginia Tech was at like the 2-yard line, 4 downs. WVU stops them.
Unbelievable.
And that game was incredible. So I've been to, me and NC Nick went
Florida
to
State at NC State. Same thing.
The world's biggest cocktail party. Went to overtime. Yeah. I went to a Utah San Diego State game that was essentially a Hail Mary. Like the guy called it at the 1. So it doesn't get the credit as a Hail Mary, but he catches at the 1. They call timeout. and they score they make the game winning field goal. So I've been to a lot of
That's
really
a tough
cool games.
question.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to it. Shout out to Blanton for the great question in the chat. And he says he's got the App State game as his answer. And Weehawk says, I got a bunch. Maybe the fact my wife agreed to go to the Orange Bowl as part of my honeymoon. So Weehawk's a legend. Yeah. All right, let's fire away.
Nicely done.
Who are we on right now? Who are we on? College football is the fucking greatest. It is on, I believe, Mississippi State. Arkansas was the last game played. Okay. So that jumps over to who played that? So Patty C's on the clock here.
Well, we'll stay in SEC country, and here's a game that one of these teams hasn't lived up to their recruiting rankings or their typical standard, but Ole Miss has played pretty far above their typical level, and they have to travel to the Plains to play Auburn.
Ooh, NC Nick, I think we misjudged this one because of the Hugh Freeze factor.
That's a good point. Yeah, you could argue this one's better. Maybe Patty's right here.
You got some offensive fireworks,
the revenge factor. They fired Hugh Freeze.
Oh, that too.
That's what I'm saying. That's what made it a little bit more appealing. As I thought about it. I was like, I think this is the better SEC West game now that I think about it. So
I think you're right.
Yeah. Sign me up for
bigger
this one.
brand names. But I again, where Auburn kind of, I feel like who's our guy? Chase Sessom says Arkansas is kind of jealous of Auburn. I'm sure Mississippi State in some ways is jealous of Ole Miss. I respect that game is between the grinders, whereas this game is like kind of douchebag programs. Even though I'm a out of the closet Auburn guy.
But Auburn had won 6 straight before last season when Ole Miss got the win. But Ole Miss they're getting destroyed in this rivalry, believe it or not. They only have 11 wins, is what I'm seeing on this website.
That doesn't surprise me that much.
I'm curious. I gotta look this up. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it's a good matchup because of the drama behind it. So
11 wins out of how many years? That surprises me.
No, that's why I was wondering if that's accurate or not. Maybe that's the website Winsipedia that we know is not as good as the database and pick Dundee. So NC Nick, what do you make of Ole Miss Auburn?
Yeah, no, for all the reasons you guys said, this probably does deserve to be played slightly above that Mississippi State Arkansas game. It's a fun matchup, and these teams are always, I feel like they're never far from bubbling up and having a special year. So potentially, maybe one could this year. We'll see.
There we go.
Well, what's crazy is Ole Miss won 5 of the first 7. Sports Reference has this at 35-12. So since then, it's been 33.
How did they go so long without playing?
33-7 that Auburn has dominated this rivalry since then. That's shocking. That is shocking.
Domination. All right, let me hop on over to old pick Dundee's next pick here. Oh, we're going to Eugene, where I think we might have a ball game here. Last year, oh man, Washington State should have won this game. You remember this game, Patty? See, we were watching this.
Washington State, Oregon.
Yeah,
I don't remember it super well off the top of my head.
This was a brutal game a year ago. If you're a Washington State fan, because they pretty much were in the lead of this game, the entire game. Just a terrible final 5 minutes of this game. But this is a closer rivalry than some think. Oregon only leads by 11 games. They've been playing this one since 1901. And last year's 44-41 game was a pretty damn good game. I think Wazoo is flying under the radar a little bit because Cam Ward's back. And, I think the defense will continue to be good. I like that they went out and got Josh Kelly, the wideout from Fresno State. I think they might be able to hang around in this one. So give me Washington State at Oregon. NC Nick, your thoughts?
For those that have been listening to us over the years, they know I always say I love, Wazoo games at home and Oregon State games at home. When they're on the road, it's not quite the same, but at the same time, this game does deserve to be played here. I do think it could be a good matchup. Oregon might win by double digits potentially, but who knows? Because I think both teams have some question marks. So it's a solid game played at the right spot.
Patty C.
I disagree. I think this is a Colby hipster game, and for one reason that Nick just pointed out.
I just said the rivalry though. It's better than Ole Miss Auburn historically.
Sure, that's fair. But Ole Miss hasn't been the team that they are and have been lately for very long. They've been a shit team for a long time, and now they're decent. Washington State, meanwhile, although respectable, is not on Oregon's level, and we all know that going into
Eugene is
tough. So
could be a blowout.
It probably will be a blowout, but Wazoo is, full of surprises. So
I'll just say it wasn't that long ago that they won in Eugene. All right. So they actually won back-to-back 2015, 2017 in Eugene. So let's go.
There was a certain guy there that might have impacted that.
And look, they're still running his offense. All right. Let's go. All right. NC Nick jumps back to you.
Oh man, there's a couple ACC matchups I might get laughed at for picking.
Other than that, it's right there. It's such a hot game.
That there's a shit ton of weekday games, and I already played one weekday Sunbelt matchup. It's time for another. Let's go Tuesday night, Southern Miss at South Alabama. This was the second and third team in the Sunbelt West last year. If Troy hadn't have been so good, one of these teams might have jumped up there. And this year, the same thing. These teams have a chance to win the Sunbelt. So I think it's a great matchup. It's a fun matchup of really solid football teams. Let's go with some Tuesday night action.
I love this game. I mean, I've been a closet Southern Miss fan for like 40 years. So, I mean.
So you were in favor of Brett Favre funneling that money into the athletic program?
Well, not for the volleyball. If it was for football, I would have gave it a pass. But no, I'm joking. That's
a cardinal sin that it wasn't given.
Yeah, when I found out it was volleyball, I was completely disappointed in Brett Favre. But Southern Miss at South Alabama. They're Hattiesburg, Mobile, right there. Southern, is Gulf Coast football. I like it, and the fact it's on alone. Not necessarily alone, but it's the best game on the Tuesday night.
I think this is dirty South football.
Yeah,
you're right. This is dirty South. Southern Miss, probably the most dirty South program. Will Hall, South Alabama, Kane Womack.
They've never beaten South Alabama.
Wow,
0-3. Remember, South Alabama kind of started their football program. Two of those have been, I think just one. Last year they played, it was a 7-point game. Southern Miss lost. They got to get their shit together. Remember, Southern Miss kind of went through some tough years, in the late 2010s, and they need to get back to where they, people keep talking about college football having this break off where, and hopefully this never happens because I fucking hate the thought of it. But the fact that teams like Boise State and Southern Miss would get left out. Southern Miss has been, I don't think they didn't watch college football probably like we watch college football in the 90s, in the mid 2000s. Southern Miss was a fucking hornet's nest. They would go on the road. They would do all their non-con games on the road, like at Florida State, at Alabama, at Nebraska.
Southern Miss, Florida State was such grits and fucking syrup.
I love Southern Miss, and I would hate to see that if this ever, becomes like a minor NFL, that they get left behind essentially. Them or Boise State, it would be, or Fresno State or something. That they deserve it. They fucking have been.
But you know what? Even if that happens, that second tier of football will be so good.
True, but I
like the FCS on steroids.
But why should Rutgers or Maryland get the pass when Southern Miss and Boise State have been so fucking good at football for 40 years? So I love this matchup.
I like your idea of doing away with the divisions altogether and just have a second playoff. Have an NIT in football.
Yeah, definitely.
They should do it. They should do
awesome
it
at home.
I'll call the games. Let's go.
Oh man,
I'll fucking call the games for free. Talk to me. I'll do it for free. All right, 1-800-PICK Dundee. All right.
You deserve it. If fucking Barstool can do it, we can call our own games.
They probably don't even know the history of Southern Miss football. I got it. It's all here, baby. All right.
Well, who do you have favored in this game? Because Southern Miss is on the come up. I know Frank Gore.
You got to go Bama though.
Oh yeah, South Alabama at home is favored.
Yeah,
great.
But not by
much. Yeah, 3.5.
What was their record last year? Weren't they like 10-4 or something?
Yeah, I think 10 or 11 wins. Yeah.
What's great about this is you take like the quintessential states in the South, Alabama and Mississippi, and then you put South on top of that, South Alabama versus Southern Mississippi. I mean, we don't have
double South. It's like South
Northern Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
We don't have Western fucking Hawaii playing. That's what we need.
There we go. And shout out to Dick Gertzberger in the chat. He's talking about that Colorado Michigan game too. And Weehawk says most people don't watch college football like that, but that's why it's us, baby. That's why you're here. That's why we're talking right now, is because we do watch college football like that. And Dustin Wees also says that Natty was one of the best games he's ever seen between USC and Texas. And Dick Gertzberger mentioning Arizona State, Nebraska in 96. Oh, because this was one where NC Nick talked a lot of shit. And I bet him. I said Arizona State was going to beat him in Tempe. And that's one of the only games I remember, I think, with 3 safeties. I think they had 3 safeties in that game to get to 19, if memory serves me correct. But Pat Tillman and Jake Plummer loved that Arizona State team, as that game was fantastic. All right. Next up, Patty C, you're on the clock.
Ooh. Okay, it's there. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
Yes, do it.
You know, talk about a book being read in the stands. Talk about this. Talk about that. These are still
the book being read was Florida State Clemson.
Okay, I mean, same difference, really. Miami, who knows what their record's going to be at this point in the season? You still got to figure at least some fans will show up with Clemson coming to town, but maybe not. Maybe it's just an empty stadium and they get destroyed yet again by Clemson. This is taking a flyer.
Let me get this straight, Nick. He's talking shit about my Washington State Oregon play, and he plays Clemson, Miami. And let me rattle off the final 4 games that these teams have played.
No, I'm looking at
Clemson won 40-10, 42-17, 38-3, 58-0. The closest matchup was by what? 25 points.
This game deserves to be played here, Patty. I just knew that somebody had these recent scores ready to go.
Well, by my count, going back to 52 actually, by my count, there's only been 3 times this was a 1 possession game.
Is that
3
right?
times it's a 1 possession game.
Well, what's the series?
13 games. I mean, it's not like it's that many games. Okay,
I'm just saying they've been a lot of fucking blowouts.
You know what's
game.
interesting about this game is the ACC needs Miami to show up.
Yeah,
and so we're not talking about necessarily the game itself. We're talking about the future of college football kind of hinges on this game a little bit. And I want to say this:
they might need Clemson to win this, though.
Yeah, they might. Well, yeah, maybe.
I don't know which is more
ACC
important.
really
I'm just surprised that, according to Twitter, the ACC would be totally folded by now. I'm just, as of a couple weeks ago, I thought that the ACC would.
He keeps saying this. He keeps saying this, but watch. I mean, look, I think it's fun to ridicule, but we have had substantial college football news each offseason. Beware what you wish for.
Yeah, don't laugh too hard at it. But we have a source who's got their own sources. That has a new claim every day.
I'm going to go ahead and say Washington State will play Oregon better than Miami will play Clemson.
That doesn't make the game more compelling.
To me, it does.
Look, name one game on this slate where teams have played in more national championships.
I don't give a shit
since
about
the 1980s. Clemson 80 national championship. Miami 5 national championships.
They were in the Big East. They were giving out. That's like giving UCF.
To Patty C's point, just because it's a close game doesn't make it compelling. Okay, none of us have played Akron Bowling Green yet. Okay,
I'd probably watch that over Clemson Miami. All right,
hipster,
especially those last 4.
Hi.
I know you're a Jay Moorhead guy, okay, but you were a little off on Akron last year.
Colby, we should demand you start wearing a scarf and put on your little horn rim glasses.
Patty C,
put on a Where's Waldo beanie.
Okay. Well, Patty C, you want to talk about Cornell football too, because they were once dominant, just like Miami.
Okay, well, I'm not talking about the 1880s. I'm talking about the 1980s, buddy.
Yeah, and they're gone. Those days are gone.
Well, guess what?
All right.
Clemson's days were 5 years ago. So,
I do believe Clemson, but Oregon also has played for the national championship too.
Not that much.
Talk to me. Let's go. I'm a man of 40. All right. Clemson, Miami. Sprinkle this ACC bullshit.
Colby's got the absolute ridicule lineup every week. It doesn't matter who Florida State or Miami are playing. You're getting ridiculed if you play one of them.
Well, at least Florida State has actually they're 9 years removed of a national championship.
Miami's had a tough
been
little
terrible
run.
ever since they came to a real conference, which makes me question all those years in the Big East when they were playing Temple every
Fair.
fucking week.
Right. How many teams have won a national championship since Florida State has? What, like 4 or 5 maybe?
But Bama,
Clemson.
LSU,
Clemson, LSU, Bama.
Ohio.
No.
Georgia.
No, they did.
Georgia. Ohio State did, right?
Ohio State did. Yeah,
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only 5 other teams in the nation have won a national championship more recent than Florida State.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Florida State gets a little like where Miami, it's like, come on.
Probably only 7 other teams have won a national championship more recently than Miami.
And
No.
that's a sad state of college football. Is that
Maybe
it's
like
so
8 or
top
9.
heavy.
No. And also you didn't say UCF.
Touche.
Yeah, we got to because it's a bullshit system. All right, it's my pick, and I'm picking real games, not this bullshit. All right, it's fucking ACC nonsense, 58-0. Honestly, what do you think that spread will be? I'm gonna say Clemson -14.
Probably, and it should be. I do want to look at one thing. You know, we're gonna, if you guys will bear with me, let's take a look at Miami season up to this point, schedule up to this point, and see who they got. They got hosting Miami, Ohio.
Loss
Should be a win.
No,
Hosting
they lost to Middle Tennessee last year.
hosting A&M. Let's see what you say here, college football hipster.
A&M's gonna beat them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1-1.
Okay, 1-1.
Hosting Bethune-Cookman
That's a win.
at Temple. That's a win.
I don't even know if that's a for sure win.
Hosting Georgia Tech.
Loss. Georgia Tech gets their number. Georgia Tech fucks with them every year. I feel like
In Miami.
no one goes to their games. They're like an hour away from
A
campus.
3-1 Miami team hosting Georgia Tech, coming off a bye, beats Georgia Tech. 4-1 Miami.
Why do you think that automatically?
Because
Do I need to show you history?
Yeah. What is the history? What is the recent history of Miami? Georgia
I told
Tech?
you this. I have this
by
for
saying fucking with them. Is it a 500 matchup or
well, the last time they played, it's 14-13 the series all time.
Okay, what's their last 5?
Okay, hang on. This one doesn't have it. This one will. Miami did win last year.
Or 2 years ago?
35-14.
Oh, Miami won last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
35-14.
Okay.
The game before that, Miami won 33-30.
Okay.
Game before that, Georgia Tech won 28-21.
Okay.
Game before that, Georgia Tech won 27-21.
Okay.
The game before that, Miami won 25-24.
So 3 of the last 5 and
yes, and by
2 in a row, and they're hosting them now. And you somehow got Miami losing this game.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I do.
4-1 Miami.
do.
They have a road trip to North Carolina. They'll probably lose. But either do 4-2 Miami hosting a Clemson game. The stadium will be full for this game.
What year did Miami join the ACC? 04?
04, I think. They suck. Yes, I know. Okay.
Are you guys still talking about Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get over
Anyway. All right. It jumps over to me.
Sorry, I was taking my pick.
All right, let's go to I'm gonna take you to we're going Big 12 again. You know I love the Big 12. My favorite conference. All right. Morgantown, baby. Oklahoma State at West Virginia. This should be a Friday night game. This should be a fucking Friday night game.
Yeah, it should be.
But no, this is gonna be fun. Neil Brown, foot in the pressure cooker. You know what I mean? He's got to win this year. And then you got Gundy, who I think some of the Oklahoma State fans kind of want. It's kind of like the Ferentz situation. For some stupid reason,
I never understood it.
Yeah, they want him out for some reason, even though he was a half yard away from the CFP 2 years ago. I just think this game is good. This will be a better game than Clemson Miami as well. Oklahoma State at West Virginia. It is good. Nick,
7-6 against 5-7 last year.
you know who played in the national championship? TCU, and TCU almost lost in Morgantown. Anytime you play in Morgantown, it's great college football. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. It is fun to watch.
I mean, West Virginia is certainly a live dog here because Oklahoma State was 7-6 last year. And I do think the Cowboys are going to be better this year with a healthy quarterback, whether it's the Texas Tech transfer or one of the guys that came in for Sanders last year. It's a decent matchup. I'm just trying to get excited about it, and I'm failing.
Any game in Morgantown I find interesting.
Yeah,
prime time, weekday. Yes, I agree. I mean, it's a tough place to play, but tell me why I should care about this game.
Well, tell me why you should care about Clemson, Miami when they can't even sell that fucking game out.
I'll tell you what.
All right.
No matter where you win,
could do something this year.
Could they?
Yeah, Clemson could do something this year. They were pretty damn close last 2 years. They've won.
Oklahoma State 2 years ago was a half yard away from the fucking CFP.
So they did it once, and Clemson's done it 7 times in the last 8 years.
I'm just saying, I'd rather watch Oklahoma State. I'd rather watch Oklahoma State, West Virginia.
Well, it depends on if you want a competitive football game, because this one might be a little more likely to be competitive, especially in Morgantown.
Yes,
but look, you're acting like Oklahoma State hasn't done anything. I mean, Mike Gundy's had what? 1, 2, 3, 4,
When's the last time
5,
they had a
6,
losing season?
7, 10 plus win seasons in his tenure. Granted, he's been there since 2005. The guy can coach, a lot of top 25 finishes, but you're right. He's never been able to get over the hump. Never closer than 2 years ago where they finished number 7. Actually, 12-1 in 2011. They finished number 3. He's had some decent runs. But
disrespect. He just hates the Big 12. That's what it is.
I don't know.
I hate the ACC. He hates the Big 12.
As Colby pointed out, though, Mike Gundy usually performs well when the expectations aren't there. So maybe they'll be in a competitive spot for the Big 12 or even the playoff at this point in the year.
I expect this game to matter.
And going into Morgantown, you better bet that it's going to be a lit environment.
Let's go. All right. Fucking NC Nick. All right, NC Nick, where are you going?
Well, fuck you. Here's a team. Here's a 9-4 team against the 8-5 team. Give me Pitt at Wake. An ACC matchup for you, okay? Pitt was very close to doing big things 2 years ago with Kenny Pickett. Wake Forest has had their days in the sun where they've had some very good seasons as well. So I think Pitt at Wake is just as good of a game as your.
Oh my God! Get the fuck out of here!
I agree with Nick completely.
Thank you, Patty.
I agree with Nick completely. And you know what the worst part about it is, Colby? You're this is a competitive game. Oh, these teams are winning. We don't care how sexy it is. Pittsburgh and Wake Forest aren't sexy, but they both are relevant. And this is a good game.
You know the difference, though?
The home field environment. Yes,
No one cares. I tell you, what makes the ACC, what makes me not care about the ACC is when you watch a Pitt game and it's half empty. When you watch a Miami game and it's half empty. When you watch a Boston College game and it's half empty. When you watch a Wake Forest game and no one's there. The opposing team when you can't in a lot of situations.
30,000 seat stadium.
That's what makes the Big 12 so much more appealing.
Unfortunately, the ACC is mostly in states that have a lot of stuff going on for them, other than football. Unfortunately, the Big 12 doesn't. The Big 12 is in Iowa and Kansas and West Virginia.
I have been to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Let's stop making this out to be the fucking metropolis. Get the fuck out of here.
What it is Winston-Salem is a small private college. And most of the Big 12 schools are big state universities. Look, I totally agree that if I'm going to go to a game like in person, that I'm going to go to a West Virginia, Oklahoma State game.
I think that sells on TV though. Like if I'm going to watch a game, I would rather watch it where the environment is lit.
Oh yeah,
it helps.
Something about Wake Forest games is I love Dave Clawson. I want Wake Forest to continue to invest in football and grow their fan base. But until
these two teams have been on par, if not better, probably better, because West Virginia hasn't been as good as either Pitt or Wake Forest lately. Yeah. So you can argue that the two teams in the ACC have been better combined than Oklahoma State, West Virginia.
And Colby Dant will go on the USFL podcast tomorrow and say it's better than the XFL because the football is better, even though there aren't fans in the stands.
No, but I do say that that's the clear weakness is that they don't have the home environment.
I can't argue with that for sure, but that's only one factor. I agree. It's a big factor, especially if you're going to a game in person. On TV, does it matter? It still does. Yes. But it only matters a little bit.
Oklahoma State is on another level than Pitt and Wake Forest's football program.
Absolutely. Look.
Slightly.
No.
Go through like winning seasons lately. I don't know if it's that much different.
Yeah, Wake has actually been decent, and Pitt's been all right.
Oklahoma State's been
Pitt's
more
been
relevant.
like a 7-win team for most of the last 20 years.
How many times? Yeah. No, they've also had losing seasons too, though.
Well, so to tell me like last 5 seasons, like the win totals for each team. I don't know this.
I'm looking at Pitt right now. All right, Pitt obviously had that great run 2 years ago, but last year 9-4, 11-3, 6-5 in the COVID year, right? Okay. 6-5 before that, 8-5 before that, 7-7 before that, 5-7. So they're average. They have one good year.
That's better than average.
Yeah, it's better than average. Give him some credit. Colby wants to
Seriously.
paint his argument the way he likes
Of course, don't we all?
it.
All right, it's called
No,
a human
I want
existence.
the truth.
Yeah,
I want the truth.
get out of here.
No, it's
all
a
right?
better. They have better. I mean, certainly
Oklahoma
at least
State hasn't had a losing season since like fucking when? When's the last time Oklahoma State had a losing season?
2005.
We don't
Mike
have the
Gundy's
time
first
to
year.
dig into this. I'm going to do some research tomorrow. And,
have it pulled up
and
right
look
here.
at the last 5 years between these three programs and see if the win discrepancy is that great.
Yeah.
I don't think
Mike
it is.
Gundy's been above 8 wins one time in the last 5 years. So
He plays in the Big 12.
Oh, he's got an answer for everything.
Right,
but yeah,
exactly.
That's relevant though. It
They
is
play
harder.
9 conference games.
It is harder than the ACC.
When Pitt's playing Fordham, so it's a better advantage.
I
you know?
agree with you, and I think I agree with you on that. Oklahoma State is on a different level, both from an attractive standpoint and a football standpoint than either Pitt or
Wake Forest.
and I think Pitt and West Virginia are probably on a equal footing.
Yeah,
although,
last year they played it was an overtime game.
Well,
Right?
West Virginia
Well,
has
it's a
a way
rivalry
better-
game, but Pitt has been better than West Virginia over the last 5 years. You
Yeah,
cannot
that's
tell me West Virginia has been better. You cannot
Either
tell me.
way, let me ask you this.
Ooh.
Keebler Elv football is on the rise, and I feel like that's the Demon Deacons is them trying to like play the dark side of the Keebler Elv, but that small little private university in Winston-Salem,
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe they're putting out.
Nick's right on the past 5 years, but if you go a little bit further than that, Holgorsen had some really good years at West Virginia. So past 5 years, correct, with Neil Brown but Holgorsen, even in Holgersen's final year, 8-4, year before that, 7-6, year before that, 10-3, 8-5. So they had another 10-win season, another 3 9-win seasons.
Me on a game in 2023 about what a team did 6 to 10 years ago. That's not very compelling.
Yeah, but I also think like Pitt is a little bit of fool's gold. You know what I mean? Like the fact you play in the ACC Coastal, you can rack up wins and make yourself look a lot better than playing in a real conference.
You damn right, GBO Farms. I do need some sleep, so we got to get this show going.
Let's rattle some more.
Patty C, it's on you.
Oh, now you caught me a little flat-footed after that argument, but so I'm going to go to one that I've just been holding in my back pocket. It's got some personal appeal. It just happens to be the South's oldest rivalry. Like the good folks in Charlottesville are traveling down to Chapel Hill to play against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Wahoos are being written off. Colby expects them to have their dark ages.
They're the
here.
worst FBS team this year.
I think you're sleeping on the talent that Bronco Mendenhall brought in. Sure, some of it was lost for various reasons. I guess that's a pretty mean joke. I'm going to hell. But look,
they got killed in the portal, dude.
wrong word to use there.
No, they really did get destroyed in the portal, though.
Virginia may have gotten destroyed in the portal, but they will compete with North Carolina because they do every year, and this will be a fun game. And they're both going to be wearing little sissy uniforms, looking like ACC football, which at its best is fun, at its worst is pretty ugly. This is probably closer to its worst, huh?
Nick, you're in Carolina. Sell me on this being
this is where I painted myself into a corner, but I can't defend this game. This game sucks. I hate both schools. I'm not a fan of. I liked UVA about 2 years ago with Bronco Mendenhall. But this game, I got nothing. I got nothing on it. I'm not going to watch a down.
You guys are so ready to sell Tony Elliott after 1 year. Give the guy a chance.
Nah.
Be more active in the portal. Bring in more talent, and I would be more optimistic.
Show some coaching chops.
Yeah.
Look, he is in the what's his name? Fucking homie at Clemson's coaching tree.
Dabo
Swinney's coaching tree. He didn't believe in the transfer portal. It's worked out all right for him.
That was 10 years ago. Now,
Yeah.
things
We're
are
adjusting.
changing.
We're adjusting.
Virginia at North Carolina. I don't know. I'd rather watch SMU Temple, to tell you the truth. But all right. To play this game, to play Virginia at North Carolina over, there's 2 games on the board that need to be picked.
I'm waiting to hear because I'm looking at this slate.
Texas Tech
dry.
at BYU. Texas Tech at BYU.
Hey, we have a game with 120 years of history, or 130 years of history, probably, versus a game that has it ever been played?
It has been played, and it was a 1-point game. Texas Tech won 21-20.
Oh, one game.
one game.
Oh, nice play.
You also have two winning programs, two programs that would probably beat the shit out of both those teams, Virginia and North Carolina.
Texas Tech, as of a year ago.
Joey McGuire's first year was pretty damn good.
Oh, Virginia played BYU. Didn't they split that series recently?
I have no idea.
I feel like they did. I don't know.
But BYU in Provo will have fans, unlike that wine and cheese crowd in Chapel Hill. You'll see a real football game between two good football schools. Texas Tech at BYU. NC Nick, I know you hate this one. Talk about it.
I don't. I like the newness of the Big 12, even though BYU is not one of the more closer teams to me. So, as much as I like to rep the ACC and have fun with it, no, this game is certainly better than UVA UNC. No offense, Patty C. Don't mean to throw you under the bus again, but I think Texas Tech in general, they are a boring ass program. Ever since Mike Leach left, they've been pretty boring.
Fair until last year. Last year was their first year to me, like showing that they could
a little
be
bit
something.
A little bit, yeah. So maybe they take a next step and maybe they become more appealing. At BYU's always fun, great stadium, mountains in the background and everything.
Great fans.
Great fans. And BYU is a classic college football program. So this game definitely deserved to be played here, if not a couple spots higher.
Patty C, your hate?
Quality football game, if I'm being honest. But the one game of history versus the oldest game in the South, which is, in case you were wondering, the epicenter of football. Not much of a comparison.
Chapel Hill is?
Yeah, Chapel Hill, the epicenter of football.
And honestly, like UVA at UNC doesn't really scream South to me.
It's fringe South.
It's like lawyers in the South.
Yeah. Look, Virginia at BYU, I was mistaken. It was Boise that they split recently, but Virginia did play BYU, hung 49 and still lost by 16 or 17 2 years ago in one of the most ugly defensive performances I've ever seen. All that to say, this is entertaining. And it's Big 12. It's new. It's the fourth Big 12 versus old Big 12 versus new Big 12 game of the slate.
All right. Actually, before we get to NC Nick's pick, I want to tell you we're brought to you by Shady Rays. Yes, SGPN is teaming up with Shady Rays for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off, but you also get a chance to win $500 of cold hard cash. And right now, for our listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Go to shadyrays.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 50% off of 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. And remember, May is almost over. So make sure you take your receipt over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500 in our Shady May contest. Let's fucking go. All right, NC Nick, you're on the clock. Patty C went to the other room. What are you doing here?
I'm gonna go back to the SEC. Somebody's got to play these games. I think South Carolina and Missouri is kind of interesting this year.
Better than Virginia and North Carolina,
for sure. I was reading a little bit about Missouri, and if they can get a decent quarterback, they got the new offensive coordinator coming over from Fresno.
They got the quarterback Garcia the Penn State
from Miami.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hit or miss. I mean, actually, it's boom or bust this year for what's his name, the Drinkwitz. It's either to have a decent year and not a 6-6 decent year.
He's undefeated though against South Carolina. He's 3-0 against South Carolina. So
I think at Mizzou, I think they should win this, and I think they're flying under their radar a little bit. I might go with an over on their win total this year because I'm kind of liking what I'm hearing here. The defense was actually pretty good last year. If they can get the offense cranking a little bit with that new coordinator, Missouri might be better than we think, and South Carolina's interesting under Beamer, if nothing else.
Can Beamer get his first win against Missouri? Like Drinkwitz, like I said, Drinkwitz 3-0 against South Carolina. Patty C, what do you make of South Carolina at Mizzou?
Well, I don't know if we already touched on this because as I was out, but isn't this a protected rivalry? Isn't this their cross division rival?
No, the same division.
Yeah. Oh no, that's right. That's what makes this one weird.
You're thinking of A&M.
Okay. South Carolina A&M cross division rivals.
Yeah.
This game, we've officially reached that point in the slate where we're trying to sell a Missouri game. So maybe the least sellable team in college football from an interest standpoint. I know our Missouri Tigers fans hate us, but as long as homeboy at South
Garcia. You got Jake Garcia
No,
coming in.
Jake Garcia kind of makes this an interesting
Rattler versus Garcia,
Rattler
perhaps.
versus Garcia.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Little 5-star on 5-star quarterback action. Sign me up.
Patty, like I was telling Colby, I mean, Missouri has a new offensive coordinator from Fresno coming in. They're
Tedford.
They're gonna be
Tedford
flinging,
yeah.
gonna be flinging that ball around a little bit more here. I want to see what happens.
I'll say this: when Missouri's old coach, now I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Well, I'm saying Kalen DeBauer was a Tedford guy, but Missouri's old coach Gary Pinkel. Yeah,
he actually got them to the point where it's like, all right, Missouri is kind of must-watch football.
Well, they went to back-to-back SEC championship games. Yeah,
that does help, doesn't it?
Ask Texas A&M how that feels. Who was the real get from the Big 12? Yeah, I think you got to play it. You got to play it there. Solid. Patty C, it's on you.
All right. It's just sitting there. I'm going to take it. We're going out west either way because there are two options that are intriguing. But we are going to Washington.
Yeah, I almost played this one, and this is the one that I feel like you guys are sleeping on.
Well, I mean, I think the last couple times I've played, I think at least one time I played Arizona State. I caught flack because they weren't that good last year.
They still beat Washington last year. That was one of their only 2 losses.
I will say it's a long distance travel. Arizona going all the way up to Washington, 2 very different climates, the dry desert versus the rainy Seattle area. Are they going to be overwhelmed by the weather at this point?
Well, the last time they went to Seattle in 2021, Herm Edwards and Arizona State pulled off the upset 35-30. Believe it or not, they've had Washington's number. You go all the way back. I mean, all the way back since 2002. Get this straight. 2002, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They're 13-2 against Washington since 2002. The Arizona State Sun Devils. I think we slept on this game personally, just because I think both teams are better than they just. This is a good game.
Well, I don't think Washington's better than advertised because they're being preseason top 5.
I don't mean that. I'm just saying this game delivers normally. Yeah. It delivers to me, even though it's lopsided. A lot of them are close games. Nick, your thoughts on Arizona State, Washington?
I guess it does. I mean, that it's kind of news to me though, because this game is not on my radar. Honestly, call it East Coast biased. Call it this game's going to start way too late. Call it what you will, but this game doesn't do much for me.
There.
But Washington's won national championships.
Have they?
91 and what? 2000. They had the same record as the national champion, the invitational champion in what, 2000?
I feel like they beat Miami a couple times in the early 90s.
And then they gave them they basically have 2, in my opinion.
I mean, it kind of says something that I forgot that they lost to Arizona State last year.
Yeah, last year in Tempe.
Right. So I mean, the game belongs to be played here for sure, but for some reason it doesn't do much for me.
You know what? I'll say this about being on the West Coast. I'm still an East Coast football fan far more than I am a West Coast football fan, but you do start to just like become a little more aware. I mean, we've been out here how long? Like almost 20 years.
Well, it's just great because you get dinner time, you get these matchups.
Yeah.
So like
that's probably it.
You know what I mean? Like where other times, I remember with NC Nick watching games at like 1 a.m. when we were 17 years old. Watching.
Yeah, you really have to make the effort to be a West Coast fan.
So Nick, make the effort, right? Tell the kids to put on a Stallone flick, have them watch a Stallone flick, and then you can go upstairs and watch some Pac-12 After Dark.
There you go.
All right. Well, that was Patty C's play. That was a good play because I think this game's actually a lot better than the other games we mentioned.
Nice beaver.
Whoop, I'm sorry. All right, it jumps back to me. Yeah, we get the games at 9 a.m. Look, my first year moving out here when I was 20 something, I didn't like it, but ever since then, I love it. I actually hate it when I go visit. To me, Mountain or Pacific time zone has it best. When I go visit NC Nick, like I was in December, I hated the fact that college basketball or college football games are on so late. I'm like, the whole day you're just sitting there.
It's brutal.
Dude, it's all different stages of your life, man. If you got shit to do, you got errands to run, you got kids, you need some time. You need a few hours where you got to do that before the games start. So for the East Coast, it's good.
No, I think you would actually like it at daytime better, though, because your games are starting at like 2 or 3 o'clock, you're still at work. You know, I feel like you
I
always
thought you
say
meant Saturday games. I thought you meant weekend games.
Oh, no. In general, I'm just saying.
Oh,
general,
weekday games. I hear you
Yeah.
completely. Weekday, I want shit in the afternoon. You know, I'm an afternoon weekday guy for sure. But weekend, I can't have games starting at 9 a.m. I can't sit in front of my TV all day long.
It's got to mow the lawn. See, they have lawns in North Carolina. We don't have grass
True.
here. We're in a desert.
Yeah, get off my lawn. Nick, this is supposed to be a religious day. Tell. This is where you need everyone to come together, even your daughters, and watch some Arizona
Sabbath
State Sun Devil
is Saturday.
football.
Let's be like, we're going Jewish here.
Yeah.
All right, what are we
The
talking
Shabbat.
about?
What are we talking about?
I'm on the clock, and no, I'm not going to play an ACC game. You filthy animals! I'm taking you. Is this? Are we approaching weekday fun? Oh man! Oh, definitely. I'm taking you to El Paso, Texas, where we got a rivalry game. We got a rivalry game. These teams are. This is what the Battle of the I-40. I think it is, right? What is this rivalry called? I believe it's the Battle of the I-40, right? They've been playing for 104 years. All right. I forget the name of it right now, but I think it's the Battle of the I-40.
No, is that UCF?
No, New Mexico State, UTEP.
Oh, yeah.
They're right there.
Yeah.
They're not far. The Sun Bowl, I've mentioned this before. Sun Bowl is the best stadium we have in America in college football. Protect this thing, play more big time games. And I'm glad this is a weekday game because people will get to see how awesome the stadium is. New Mexico State, GBO Farms is a New Mexico State guy. Let's go. Jerry Kill's got them bowling. Meanwhile, UTEP's Dana Dimel almost had him bowling last year, went bowling the year prior. This is a fun game, and I love the setting. It's a weekday game. Patty C, talk to me about the Battle of I-40.
Well, you're right. We focus a lot on Northeast football. You know, it's special. Southwest football, also special. And the Sun Bowl, one of the what is it, the third or fourth bowl game? It was Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl in some order or another, and then Sun Bowl. How is Sun Bowl getting left out of the equation?
Dude, they should play the national championship here. I've been saying this
and think about this. Think about this. The Rose Bowl is still played at the Rose Bowl, but the Sugar Bowl isn't played at the Sugar Bowl anymore. The Orange Bowl isn't played at the original Orange Bowl anymore. The Sun Bowl really is.
And I'm sorry, it's the Battle of I-10.
I-10.
The Battle of I-10. Yeah, this is honestly where they should play. This is a great game. I'm actually very glad they put this on the weekday game because I feel like America doesn't know about this one. NC Nick, talk to me.
I was gonna say because I-40 goes through Knoxville. Also, I-40 goes from the North Carolina coast all the way to Barstow, California.
I think the Battle of I-40 is New Mexico State.
Yes, I-40 goes through Albuquerque.
Yeah, and I think the Battle of the I-10 is New Mexico State UTEP.
There you go. So the only thing you got going for you here is that it's probably the best game on Wednesday. I think I already played one Tuesday game. I think the other games on Tuesday are better than this game. But
not from a rivalry standpoint. Not from a rivalry standpoint.
I don't give a shit about a New Mexico State at UTEP rivalry. You tell me
I do.
That's really a football rivalry.
It's a school rivalry, basketball and football.
I find it. I don't think much. I don't know.
I've been to El Paso, Texas. I'm telling you, that shit is close. That shit is close by.
Maybe close, but does anybody care about football? I don't know.
Yep. Let's go.
Well,
Texas,
you know more than me.
Texas, buddy. This is Texas.
All right. Maybe you know more than me, but I think the other games on Tuesday are better, but this one, I guess, has more time share in people's minds on Wednesday because the other Wednesday game is decent too, though. So, look, I like weekday games. Okay.
Yeah, I like weekday rivalries. That's my thing.
I can't believe please don't play that game, Nick. I will roast you. I mean, this one's bad enough. The other Wednesday game.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
It's on my list.
What?
New Mexico UTEP. I feel like that's anytime there's this much history. If it's your true rival, that's in close proximity. We probably just don't know about it. It's a reason to dive into it and pay attention.
Oh, I love the fact they should do it once again. Pick Dundee when he's commissioner of college football. I will give the fans a rivalry every single night of the week. All right, obviously not Sunday. Obviously not Sunday because you're going up against NFL. But the other 6 days, I'll deliver a rivalry for you.
Just because it's a flavor you haven't tasted doesn't mean there isn't a lot of power within that flavor.
It's a small world when you've got unbelievable Tootsie Roll.
Amen.
That's what I say to that. Look, all right, NC Nick, you're on the clock. Go.
All right. So how about an American game? Memphis at UAB. Come on.
Ooh.
Birmingham and versus Memphis. You got
this is USFL football.
Yeah, seriously. You got Trent Dilfer. I think if you're talking about one of the G5 schools that is most appealing this year, to see what the hell UAB looks like this year. UAB, I love having UAB as a solid football program because it's just a fun school. They should be good in Birmingham. So I'm hoping the coaching hire works out. And the same thing should be said about Memphis, because I think college football is better when Memphis is good and UAB is good.
I agree. I like those schools. Patty, see, what do you make of it?
I mean, I guess college football is better when UAB is good. What is UAB bringing to the college football landscape that it needs?
Dragons.
Dragon, that's true. In terms of unique mascots, they do bring that.
And look, as long as that athletic director is still trying to get a Komodo dragon as the actual mascot, I am on fucking board.
There's no reason why Birmingham and Memphis shouldn't be good football city. I mean, they are good football cities.
Yeah.
And those two local universities should be decent. They should be good G5 schools.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, the Iron Bowl was played in Birmingham forever. Memphis is a staple of the South.
If fucking El Paso and Las Cruces can be decent, then fucking Birmingham and Memphis should be.
The good people of Las Cruces will fuck you up, buddy.
Yeah.
Right? Let me tell you.
Hold your tongue there, buddy.
Tell me where there's more talent.
I mean, El Paso is a huge fucking city. Go look at the
population. They're playing
in El
soccer.
Paso. I don't know. It's Texas. It's football, baby. Patty C, you're on the clock. Go.
I don't know. There's 1 and 2 games here. Both have my attention, but I'm going to go the one that I like more, even though a big factor within this game has been taken away. We're talking about Army at LSU. Jeff Monken has had some success against some of these big time schools, even on the road. He took Michigan to the wire overtime
and Oklahoma
in
overtime
in Ann Arbor and Norman,
and also the University of Tennessee. Shout out to GBF Farms. They paid Army $1 million not to play.
Yeah, they got shook. Look, they're not afraid to go down there. Again, this is a recruiting visit. What is it? The National Guard that's in Louisiana down there. My dad was stationed in 71
there's a
in
movie
Louisiana.
about this. I told you
there's two of them. Tigerland, yeah, and then there's another one. Pretty fun. But look, they're going to go down there. They're going to get some Southern boys. They're going to recruit their players. They're going to recruit their Army people, and Army's going to come out of this game sitting pretty. LSU is going to be stunned.
Army leads the all-time series 1-0.
There it is.
Please win this game. Please be up 2-0 and then demand to never play them again. That would be some shit the SEC would do to them. So you should do this. All right. I mean, NC Nick, Jeff Monken.
It's certainly a game where you're score monitoring for a while, and then if it gets close, then you're definitely turning it on because that would be an awesome upset. So it's not one of the ones where I'm going to watch from the get-go. But if you're like, man, Army's hanging around.
You'll be checking the
longer the game goes, the more of a chance Army could pull it out. So I like it.
LSU's the type of team that might let this happen too.
Yeah. I just think LSU's gonna be pretty good this year. So I don't know.
Patty C doesn't think so.
Consider me not convinced just yet.
All right. Dundee's back on the clock, and I'm taking you too. Okay. Well, every once in a while you get some cockanimi program that tries to invade on a state that is owned by East Carolina.
I knew where he was going.
All right. You might be rising as a city with all your banking. What do they call that fucking Jerry Richardson Stadium? But I don't know. It's all these banks. Bank of America's there.
Don't slander Biff Poggi.
Yeah, and I'm a Biff Poggi guy. Yeah. But who do you think he's just gonna have to just take an old-fashioned beat down because Charlotte is heading into Greenville, North Carolina, and there is no way.
It's a disgrace that you're playing this game right now.
There is no way.
I would have played this next if Colby wouldn't have.
God.
This is what are you talking about? In-state battle, Patty C. The Clits going into
the Clit never stood a chance in Greenville. Let's be honest.
So
a lot of Clits get pounded in Greenville.
That's true. They're next up.
All right. So Charlotte at East Carolina. Patty C, your thoughts?
I mean, do we want to watch an asking? I'm only going to watch this on the off chance that Charlotte pulls the upset. Then I will be laughing in Kobe's face very hard. So, yeah, I'll pay a little attention to it.
NC Nick?
I mean, the game has weekday written all over it. So a little disappointed there, but I like it because, dude, it's a battle of the state I live in. So sign me up.
All right. Well, sign you up to the next pick, your final pick of the draft, buddy.
All right, let's go back to weekday Nick. I mean, I don't want to pick UCLA at Stanford or some boring shit like that. So let me go Tuesday night. And the question is, which game is better? I guess I'll go Western Kentucky at Jacksonville State. That could be a fun offensive matchup. And the Hilltoppers have been pretty damn good the last couple of years. And I'm intrigued.
Air raid against Rich Rod. I like it.
Which game do you think is better, that or MTSU Liberty?
I think this one. This one because the offense that Western Kentucky's trotted out the past 2 years has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Remember the Bailey Zappi offense, and then the fact that Austin Reed's coming back. Remember he hit the portal. Some big programs are trying to get him.
They have like the most pronounced version of the air raid.
And dude, this is going to be a fun little DFS slate with 3 games Tuesday night.
That is.
So
shout out Conference USA. Look, we became huge fans of the Sun Belt because they know the identity of college football fans, the hardcore ones. But Conference USA saying, "Hey, we're going all in on weekday." I'm loving it.
Hell yeah,
I'm fucking loving it. So, Patty C, what do you make of the Hilltoppers and the Gamecocks?
Sure. Who is it? Their coach left, but I mean, it's still Helton there, right?
Yeah.
But their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but they got his boy.
They're still running the same offense. They weren't throwing the ball around quite as effectively last year as 2 years ago, but still pretty damn
effective.
Still getting like 500-yard passing games. Jacksonville State, meanwhile, we're waiting to see what Rich Rod will do back in the FBS ranks. Yeah, of course. Rich Rod for me is appointment television. So on a Tuesday night,
you get him every Tuesday this year.
You're damn right. I'm dialed in.
Final pick in the draft we still have the FCS and the what the fuck games. So Patty C, what are you doing here?
Well, Nick probably correctly took a shit on UCLA Stanford, even though it is Stanford's last chance to catch them before they go out the door. I'm sure they're going to be shaking their hand, win, lose, or draw there, like a complete pussies that they are. Northwestern basically signed Scott Frost's resignation or firing papers last year. I would like to see them Pat Fitzgerald mess up Matt Rule's first season too. I don't think that's going to be my plan.
I went to this game. You're playing this?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because I went to it and it was 55-7, and then I know the year before it was pretty bad too. But okay, what are you playing then?
I'm having a little hard time here.
You got some fun little action games going on there. I know it's on a Saturday, a busy Saturday.
We're going to get North Carolina in the mix one more time. We are going to Appalachian State, traveling to Old Dominion.
Okay.
Somewhat local here.
All right.
App State is always fun to watch no matter what. And Old Dominion, we're waiting. We're waiting on them to get it figured out. It's actually surprising that they haven't gotten it figured out. But Ricky Ronnie what did they do last year? They were better, right?
They beat Virginia Tech.
They were bowling, right? Ricky?
No.
Was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so they took a little step back last year.
Big year for them. Big year.
There's some other games.
But you beat Virginia Tech, you're good. No, App State at ODU, that's good. Sun Belt, Fun Belt action.
I just feel like Hampton Roads. You win a game like this, maybe you wake up Hampton Roads. As someone who knows how much talent is down there, I'm always kind of got the corner of my eye on ODU.
NC Nick, App at ODU.
Look, I'm wearing an App State hat here. Okay, you name a Sun Belt game, I'm down. Not the best one, sure, but Old Dominion, they're capable of beating a lot of teams at home. We've seen it before, and App State wasn't that great last year. There's a lot of question marks with App State this year, so I like it.
I thought UTSA Florida Atlantic should have got played.
Yeah,
but we I think that's going to be a big game in the American. But let's jump over to our FCS region, because now Pick Dundee gets to go first on the FCS front, where we pick one FCS on FCS game that everyone should be watching this week. And man, there's a lot that jump out to me, right? There is a lot that jump out to me this week. However, there's one that has been played for a long time. All right. Since 1877. All right. 1877. Harvard and Princeton have been going at it.
Baby.
Northeast football is back. Do you see that NIL collective being formed at Harvard University? Don't let them come back up, baby, because I would be all on board. I'm going Harvard at Princeton, Ivy League football, and I'm hoping this is a Friday night game, because they haven't, towards midsummer, they normally release their TV schedule. A lot of last season they would do one Ivy game on Friday. That would be great, because it'd be better than the game we get at SMU Temple.
That
Harvard
game's
Princeton,
not bad. That game could be surprisingly decent.
True, but Harvard Princeton is fire.
I agree,
dude.
and some of those Friday night Ivy League games were actually pretty cool. So I like it.
Patty C, what do you make of Harvard Princeton?
I'm looking up the biggest endowments in college. Harvard is number one at $49.44 billion. Let me see if I can find the Princeton on this list. It's taking me a minute.
I'm sure they're on that list.
They are number 5 with a 35.79. In between them is University of Texas System, Yale, and Stanford. So talk about NIL money to throw around if they want. We're talking billions and billions of dollars.
Wait, did George W. go to Yale or Harvard? Yale, right? Damn it. I was about to play.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
All right, Patty C, you're on the clock. Or no, NC Nick, you're on the clock with your FCS game.
All right, so this might not be the best matchup, but it's an in-state Eastern Tennessee matchup, which I think is pretty interesting. It's Southeast versus Northeast, and that is Eastern Tennessee State at Chattanooga.
Oh, I love it.
I know. Look, East Tennessee State was just 3-8 last year. Year before that, they won the Southern Conference. Okay, yeah. So that I'm saying last year was
they lost a ton of close games last year. Go look at it. They lost the Buccaneers lost a ton of close games last year.
Right, Mox versus Bucks, baby. Sign me up.
GBO Farms is happy you played that. Patty C, what do you make of ETSU Chattanooga?
Not a game I'm super familiar with. I'm grasping at straws.
SoCon.
I feel
football. He hates the SoCon.
75.
Patty C hates the SoCon. He's a CAA guy.
Yeah, I do love Chattanooga. I feel like East Tennessee has got to be close. It's in the same region.
Johnson City, baby.
It's like 3 hours away, because seriously, you have to like the very northeast versus very southeast.
Okay, gotcha. Well, it is beautiful country, so I'm sure if I was there, I would love it.
Patty C, what's your play?
Look, I'm just going with I'm going to get their name out there as many times as I can, because this was one of the recruiting trips I took. Zabel Stadium, right? The Towson Tigers travel there. By the way, can we focus on the fact that they have Johnny Unitas Stadium? That has to be one of the most underrated stadium names. Towson. They travel to William & Mary. It's not Towson only 6-5 last year, but William & Mary again.
FCS playoff team. They're running that dual QB offense. We're going to be watching it. Mike London, former
national championship coach at Richmond.
Yeah.
Can he get it done again? Getting creative. And look, they are maybe the class of the CAA now that JMU is going.
True. Very true. Nick, what do you make of Towson, William & Mary?
What? Maryland versus Virginia? I love it.
Yeah.
Man. Hell yeah.
Of course, Patty C would play that. Of course, Patty C.
We're the good side of the river, damn it.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
All right. Now we jump over and we end the show with this. Our Lou Holtz what the fuck game of the week on why is this game even happening and why should this not be on television?
Well, I don't get rain man cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
I am going to take you to,
tough week for this. Tough week.
It is a tough week for this. That's why I'm going to take you to Jonesboro, Arkansas. Just doesn't do anything for me. Coastal Carolina, and I love the new Sun Belt, but this is just one that's got to grow on me. Coastal Carolina at Arkansas State just doesn't do anything for me.
Are they both CUSA?
No, Sun Belt.
No, Sun Belt. God, they're the same conference to me.
This is a game that's tough to watch on TV.
This should be a weekday game.
Yeah.
Coastal Carolina at Arkansas State. We love Big Bird, but Butch Jones and Arkansas State have been awful. And I don't know.
Coastal Carolina without Jamie Chadwell, that's their whole
still
mojo.
got Big Bird, though. They got Grayson McCall.
I don't care. That's like fucking UVA and
no, they're still gonna be running the Chadwell
Brennan
offense.
Armstrong without Robert and I. We saw what happened there.
Fair. That's my what the fuck game of the week. Nick, you?
My game is South Florida at UConn. This is a snooze fest, man.
What do they call this? The rivalry for UCF UConn?
That's the conflict.
They tried to create a
civil
trophy.
conflict.
They tried to create a trophy for that. I feel like they should just pivot and
capital
do it for this
CO,
one.
capital FL.
They should do it for this one too. Yeah, this one's pretty bad. Both of them aren't very appealing. Patty C, your what the fuck game of the week?
It's the same exact game I played last week. Essentially, last week was Temple at North Texas. This week it's SMU at Temple.
Friday night myself. Come on.
Shitting on his revenge from you shitting on all of his games.
Look, Temple football is in my doghouse as the least entertaining team.
They need a stadium on campus. I've been saying that forever.
Yeah, they're playing at the Link, and literally they can't fill out the first row of the stadium.
Yeah,
EJ Warner.
Let's go.
EJ Warner.
Yeah,
it might be a good guy, but he could suck the business end of the chrome pipe. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say.
Andre Waters reference.
SMU is going to rock them in front of no one once again.
All right, folks, that does it for us. We will be back. Well, I'll be back tomorrow talking college football on the College Football Experience because I'm back in U.S. soil, and you better believe we're talking college football each and every day until the season kicks off. All right, subscribe to the College Football Experience. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. Give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGP. TCE on SGPN. I can't talk. Subscribe to the College Baseball Experience as well, as that season is thriving right now. And then the College Basketball Experience as well. We host them all. We also host the USFL Gambling Podcast, and we'll be going live tomorrow talking United States Football League. So tune in, folks. Until next week, for us three, hop on over. Check us out. Until next week, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we out of here.
My darts, you get ripped apart. Save the cookie cutter butter for 106 apart. Cause of your liquor will I sip your heart. You never dumb it down, dog. If you're smart, I throw out a couple of lines. Fighters are quick to cross. Fishing you on a dick to lie. Piss you off, it goes. Tits and bras, lips and jaws. I use my common sense to see the bitch and all. Good thing you got the market corner. Kids and malls. Grip the red carpet as you slip and fall off. Another career spear. Thanks for trying to block. You get an A for effort and an F for shut the fuck up. Here's a hint. Put down the mic, you catch a glimpse. And keep them eyes wide when you see me. Mics, I seize them. So when you see him, you got a good reason to look. Catch a glimpse.